Welcome to the podcast that will be named at some point.
Oh my god.
All right, well, anyway, we have a lot on the docket today, folks. It's all right. What's going to happen here is, like, it'll be weird for 5 minutes while I'm getting used to that, and then I'll forget it's there. And then, unfortunately, I'll say something that gets me arrested, but that's a problem for future me.
Or gets us banned from the internet. Or
banned from the internet, yeah. It's like the Parkland shooter was allowed on the internet. Us, that's where they draw the line. What is, I suppose we could just start with, why record a podcast? We're three white people in a restaurant. Maybe that's just pod in a, we need to come up with like a one-syllable word for a restaurant. I think that'll do the trick, actually.
A one-syllable word for restaurant?
I can only think of two.
What?
Either that, or we could just be like the food pod, where we talk about like everything except for food. So, because I think that's the way a lot of podcasts are structured, where, like, for example, so like the Marvel podcast I listen to, they never actually talk about Marvel movies. It's just a leaping off point. Well, we always go out to eat on Mondays, so instead it'll just be food.
Yeah, but the thing is, the food is almost never the leaping off point.
That's true. I'm just like, man, I'm really enjoying these chicken wings. Let's talk about the social decay of the United States.
As you do.
We could just call it the one note.
The one note?
The one note, because we tend to have one.
That's not true.
thing.
I have like 6 notes. 4 of them are about how The Last Jedi is the best movie ever made.
So, a chord.
A chord? The chord pod. That's actually pretty good. I'll have to consider that.
Yeah,
no, it's going to be something like
We're
with
all
those.
dirty music majors. Well, no, you're a dirty music major, and I was in band.
No, I was. Listen, I never finished my
I
music
think our
degree.
stuff is coming in. I'm excited.
God bless America.
God bless America.
Cheese curds,
Thank
and
you.
then that's a side of avocado ranch,
Ooh.
and then banana ranch.
Dang, avocado ranch actually sounds pretty good.
Alright. I need...
This isn't a cheese curd. This is a freaking mozzarella stick, man.
So anyway, I'll lead off with the banger, and then we'll get to my like how I met your mother thoughts at some point.
Well, like...
Either that or
for a reason.
would it be funny?
Why don't
So
we just call it Shit Mason Says?
Shit Mason Says. Wasn't that a TV show? Shit Dad Says. It was based on a Twitter account. I remember this. This actually be a good first topic. So we have, and by we I mean me and mostly you two have been held hostage, but initially this whole thing was going to be like me just ranting about The Neighborhood, the CBS show, about a white guy who moves in the black neighborhood that's like a suburban neighborhood somehow.
Definitely not racist at all.
Yeah. It has exactly the amount of racial sensitivity you would expect for a show aimed towards 70-year-olds. That's what I'll say. At some point.
Well, aren't 70-year-olds the people who watch CBS primetime anymore?
Well, that's my point. I mean, they know their audience. You know, so one of the things I've noticed, because I'm probably going to end up in deep gambling debt to the mob, but not the Gambino family anymore. That's a teaser. They know what I'm talking about, but the audience doesn't. So
Stop referencing the audience. Unless you're going to start breaking the fourth wall all the time.
So anyway,
Don't look at the fucking camera.
there's not a camera.
It's a metaphor.
Besides, people look at the camera all the time. It's just that, like, not unless they're intentionally doing something creepy. But I'm a creepy guy. What can I say? God, actually, I kind of don't like these that much.
I do. If you don't want your last one.
Dude, I kind of want some more of that avocado ranch. Like, just for everything.
And somebody's dipping their pizza roll into the wrong sauce. We can cut that.
You all just want-
Yeah, go ahead.
You're gonna cut me flipping you off?
No, just the 5 minutes where I didn't say anything. We bitched about the pizza rolls. But anyway, what was I talking about? CBS shows. So, CBS shows, funnily enough, so like, as one of the only millennials left on Earth that watches network television, because I'm watching sports and shit. I shouldn't say and shit, it's literally just sports. But So they have this trend where like they're all one word, every single one. It's weird.
Oh shit.
I should say one noun. So the noun may consist of like 2 words, but ultimately it's one word shows. So like they don't even call their SEAL show Navy SEAL. They just call it SEAL.
Or don't they just call it like 6 or something?
No, it's just SEAL. 6 is too complicated. It's asking them to create like the only one they have where like there's some sort of complex connection you're supposed to draw is Bull, which is about a lawyer whose name is Bull, I think.
I mean, that's about as complicated as House, which admittedly is one of my favorite network television shows. So,
isn't Bull the one that the actor from? Where's your heart?
it's DiNozzo.
Yeah.
I forget his name.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's really funny is like CBS has just been running back the same dudes like forever.
Yeah, Michael Weatherly. I remembered his name finally. Like,
Isn't that how BBC does stuff? They just use like the same 10 actors.
so are TV shows basically running on star power now the way film used to?
I don't think so because ultimately, like, for the most part, I mean, CBS has definitely like tried it a little bit, but
Actually, yeah, that's fair. They're definitely franchised.
but like for example, like the thing about CBS is they're just using like they're using like drawing lines from like straight out of like the 1970s where they're just like, guess what happens on Bull's Wacky Adventures? This mom thinks that her black child prodigy should be able to play Annie, even though Annie is a white character.
But
that is a real thing I saw on some network I actually think it was like an old rerun at like Boston Legal. I saw that on, which I so happen to see because one of my parents was watching Boston Legal.
Those apps treat you guys.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take this stuff out of the way.
damn it, Joel. You messed everything
I'm bad
up.
at this.
Actually, nice tea.
Yes, please. Iced tea for me, please. Thank you.
You're ruining everything.
This is what happens when you record in a restaurant, dumbass.
No, it was a Game of Thrones reference.
Oh, you're spoiling it.
Oh, that's what I fucked up. That's on me.
You're gonna make a reference. Make the correct.
So anyway.
reference. What the fuck?
Yeah, so that you can't understand it properly.
The hook will be like the episode premise, basically, and they'll try to make it like I said, very sort of like 70s, 80s controversial stuff where like nowadays it's like, yeah, who gives a shit if there's a Black Annie? They literally made a Black Annie. That's how I know it has to be like a rerun that I saw because they wouldn't make that episode now because like Black Annie is a real thing.
It's passe.
Yeah.
Nobody
With
cares.
Jamie Foxx and a child actor.
As opposed to an adult actor playing a child.
That would be hilarious.
Can we just have Terry Crews on his knees?
Doing the Annie voice. I don't know any songs from Annie actually, so I can't
Isn't Annie Hard Knock Life too?
Yeah.
Oh yes, I know the
Life.
chorus just because of the Jay-Z song. That's the only reason I can sing the chorus of that song is because I know it from the Jay-Z as he's talking about like Hard Knock Life, but instead it's selling drugs.
Instead of growing up in an
I love that song
orphanage.
unironically.
I don't actually know the plot of Annie.
Yeah.
I can tell you the plot of Annie. There's an orphan girl, she gets adopted, and she teaches the rich capitalist fuckwad to love poor people. I'll be honest, I haven't seen the end of Annie, but it was clear that's where that was
Mary
going.
Poppins, but orphans?
Yeah, basically, it's like a reverse Mary Poppins.
I don't know. Mary Poppins was pretty socialist.
You're right. Like, it's like Mary Poppins with much less class consciousness. Like, Mary Poppins actually, strangely, is a very class conscious movie.
Yeah, it really flirts with it.
Especially for its time. Like, definitely in Mary Poppins Returns, they should have had them, like, I came back from Soviet Russia, comrades. It's time to start a revolution, you little shits.
There's the title. It's time to start a revolution. You little shit.
Well, that'll be like the episode title.
No. That's just the title of the thing. Period.
The title of the whole show. We'll have to come up. The problem is I don't think that works as like an abbreviation.
Okay, so let's just do revolution.
Alright, and then insert no ice on the water. Yeah, that's fine.
Weird flex, but okay.
Implying that she flexes.
You know, I just realized this is going to be a real pain in the behind to, like, record. I mean, to produce, because I'll have to, like, cut out every interruption.
Well, you can just listen through it. You don't have to, as a producer, you listen.
No, I know I can listen to it at, like, 2 times speed, but still, like, I don't like work.
Yeah, me neither.
So anyway, Mary Poppins Returns. It's going to be... They should have made it about, like, Mary Poppins. So it was like, well, when I flew off, I went to Soviet Russia. Now let me teach you about Leninism.
We are going to overthrow the bourgeoisie, comrade.
What do we say about the cops, kids?
Hey, Cap.
No such thing as a good cop. Or no, I have to do it in a Mary Poppins Ash voice. I'd be like, no such thing as a good cop, mate. Or how do British people... I can't do... All my British attempts are always Australian accents. Doesn't matter. No, and especially, I can't do, like, Julie... I can do at least, like, kind of a Cockney accent a little bit. I'm not going to attempt it now, but... I can kind of, sort of, at least you know what I'm going for. When I try to do the real posh one, it's a fucking train wreck.
And it's because you being posh is a horrifying concept.
No, it's like I said before I started recording. It's because I'm a trashy hoe. I say trashy things, I do trashy shit. Oh, I can just move this over here where my arm isn't.
Bravo.
That moment will work great. So... I kind of lost my thunder, too, at the Mary Poppins Returns thing, but I don't know. Does anyone have anything to add to that, or we want to just move on?
I mean, we were talking about CBS shows.
CBS shows, yeah. Well, so, yeah, you're right. I never even got back to the original point. So, like, the thing about the CBS show is, like, so it's all based on just, like, the hook of the episode, where it's supposed to be, like, controversial, but it's the sort of thing that only, like, 7-year-olds think are controversial anymore. So it's like,
So being gay.
Penny wants to be... Even they won't even go there anymore because like that's not controversial enough. So I guess it's updated a little bit. I guess it's more like the '90s idea of So it's like, oh, Penny, we're on break, but Penny is having sex with the guy who's like big and stronger than Will Leonard. That's like how I met, or what's the Leonard Penny show?
The Big Bang Theory.
I almost called it How I Met Your Mother, which is like
it's almost offensive. Like
I'll actually.
I think
I actually don't think how like the Big Bang Theory is as bad as people say it is.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it comes from the fact that there's this weird narrative that Big Bang Theory is somehow nerd blackface.
Because again, like I say again, like but this is episode 1. But again, like nerdy gamer culture are just the biggest fucking sissy snowflakes. It's like I saw a thing earlier today about like it was like on Beetlejuicing or something. And it was like it was Skanky Ho Twitter, which is where I live, of course, is the Skanky Ho. But it was like some chick on Skanky Ho Twitter was like, yo, this guy cheated on me, so I fucked the guy who killed her brother. I'm all about that Scorpio energy. So first of all, it probably didn't happen. Like, it's a joke, right? But even if it did happen, like, you can't feel that bad for him. Like, it's certainly not something to get, like, that upset over. And fucking Reddit just was like, oh, the worst person in the world. It was Beetlejuicing, because, like, then, like, someone was like, oh, hey, I'm whoever. But anyway, someone got super triggered about that. But it's like the most mild offense against, like, white 20-something gamers. It's just, like, fucking Geneva Convention's Holocaust-ass shit. I guarantee, like, you hang out with, like, a single person of color, and they see something like that, like, they're not even gonna bat an eye. It's like, they get that off the street from, like, some construction worker. He's, like, pounding the nail, and he's like, go back to where you came from. Bang, bang, bang. And it just bounces off them. Because, again, like, their skin is, like, thicker than an Arby's menu.
What? Arby's menus thick?
No, they're thin. That's my point. Like, so, like, non-20-year-old white gamers have like thicker skin, whereas, like, I'm saying you flipped the metaphor. I'm implying that the 20-year-old white gamer has, like, thin skin, and I'm saying that, like, theirs is thinner than the Arby's menu, which I guess is famously thin. It wasn't. Admittedly, it was a terrible metaphor, but you also F's up.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. All right.
But I will say, that's like 85% on me.
85? All
Yeah.
right, we'll allow it. Yellow card retracted.
So anyways, it'll be like Leonard and Penny are on break, but Penny is sleeping with other people, even though she's supposed to. It's like just the weirdest, like.
Isn't
And the
that
thing
like
is, like,
literally the premise of like a thing in Friends?
yeah, so that's what made me think of that. It's like, because it's like I said, it's like classic '90s style controversy, where it's like, yes, it's to some degree it's an interesting conversation, or not. I wouldn't even say interesting, but like, okay, you can have a like. You can still,
discussion.
yeah, but
That doesn't end. That ends with the sentence, "They were on a break."
they were on break, Rachel.
Is it like?
I feel like that's a conundrum that has been solved for 20 years. Like, clearly Ross was in the right.
Yeah, it was.
I'm just
literally
gonna
been
say it.
solved as long as Jon Snow's heritage has been solved.
People figured out by whatever, like the second to last season. I don't know the timeline of Friends, but it was like pretty much immediately after. People were like, oh wait, they were on break. Problem solved.
Duh. Maybe don't be children about it.
It was like when they were trying to figure out pi, then someone was like, what if it just never ends, like a lot of other numbers that you divide? Oh, okay. 3.14, it's good enough.
If you want to get really precise, we'll go back as far as 9 digits, no further. Because
How many digits of pi do you guys think you can remember? Don't say them yet. 5? You're like just running them in your
Maybe
head.
not even that. Like,
I keep counting point in my head and then screwing it up because I count by rhythm.
Okay, I can get to 9. And then it completely derails after that.
Yeah, 9 as well.
you could probably just throw a bunch of numbers.
Okay, let's see if you can get to 5 first. So I gave away 3 of them. You only gotta get 2 more.
It's 3.1415. Is there a 9?
Yeah, you got to 6.
Yay,
Good job.
we got 6.
All right, so basically we got to get 2 more. I want to see if we got the same 2.
3.14159265.
I thought it was 2.7, so
I mean, rounded.
Could be.
I don't even care about this enough to look at. If someone wants to look it up, that's fine.
That's
I'm
not my
assuming
problem.
Joel was right. I wasn't that confident about the 7.
I mean, if you round 6.5.
I thought it went 2.765 blah. I felt pretty good about the 7, and after that, it's all over.
I just remember that being drummed into my head.
Like Ross and Rachel's relationship after they cheated, even though they were on break.
We were on a break.
Okay, so controversies. I mean, yeah, like it seems like
The one star I see that they really try to push is they really like having the Bones guy in Seal.
oh,
His name is like David Lorenz or something. I'm getting close. I'm not quite there. It's like David something.
Can't remember his name.
Yeah, because again, like you're an adult. You don't who's like under the age of 50. You don't care about network television stars. Thank you.
My brain said Nathan Fillion, and I know that's not it.
Nathan Fillion.
Discount Nathan Fillion.
I mean, yeah.
Kind of. I guess I
Thank
do see the similarity actually.
Oh, you're on for another drink, sir?
Yeah. Could I get a strawberry cider? Could I also get a fork? Yeah.
Hey, my dude.
Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Jesus. I saw it came with a spoon and I was like, wait, so there's no other. Oh my God, I'm so bad. We'll actually keep that one in there.
He was also in.
Listen, he was in Bones. That's the only show that matters.
Isn't he in Castle? Isn't it the same
Nathan
time as-
Fillion is, yeah.
Oh, Nathan Fillion's in
So-
Castle.
Be out of the strawberry site.
Oh, well, now I have to. All right, I'll just I'll do a speed round here real quick. You have something that's like a passion fruit something, don't you?
What was that?
Or I'll have the passport. That one's pretty cool. I think that was actually what I had the first time.
Hold on.
I can't believe I was just like, can I get a fork? Like, I don't. Apparently, I just don't understand how restaurants work. That's the sad part.
Fucking David Boreanaz.
There we go. Good job.
Wasn't he an angel?
Yeah, that's
Oh, was
what
he?
I was thinking. God.
Was he the aforementioned Angel?
Yeah. He was in
God, you know what? I would have never known they were the same person, but that does make sense. The show was kind of fucking booty, though.
I wouldn't know.
I never, no, brace yourselves. It's the first hot take of the podcast. I never thought Buffy was that good.
I mean, it's okay.
It's fine.
It's a 90s TV show. I mean, I have all of the seasons because my ex got them for me, but...
Well, that means you must have wanted them at some point.
No, I was just into Buffy, and I was watching them with him, and he's like, hey, I got you a birthday present. And all of the
that's pretty funny.
Buffy.
Now Jules is going to see Buffy, and he just gets, like, mad.
Nah.
He's like, reminds me of David. I don't even remember if that's the guy's name. Listen, I'm gonna say this to you straight. I had one interaction with that douchebag, and one interaction was enough. It was literally like why we stopped hanging out. I was just like, oh god, she's gonna. I can say this now because you'll agree with me.
I probably would have agreed with you then, to be honest.
I'm not gonna get into details, but that'll be a story for like episode 8 when like they're like, what if we just give Asian a bunch of alcohol and then ask him about QAnon?
Is there really anything to say about QAnon that's not been said already?
I have a lot of things to say about QAnon. I actually like way too spicy. It takes.
I need to hear.
I'll just say this. I have a lot more sympathy for QAnon than your average bear. That's all I'll say about it.
What?
Well, so here's the thing, right? I don't want to get into. I don't want to make this just like me ranting about QAnon for 2 hours, but because also I'm like only like 10. This is another like Twitter is not real life moment. Okay. Like people need to always remember.
Hey, there's your title.
There we go. I actually semi-agree with that. Unfortunately, people won't get the reference because, like...
Well, we'll get to that rant in, like, the titular episode of whatever. The album self-titled.
The self-titled album. I don't think I could ever come out of that. That was, like... I think that's my all-timer as far as rant. It'd be, like, pretty hard to touch that one because, like, it had the right amount of, like, vitriol, anger, and trueness.
Yeah, you were just, like, all up in that shit. That was an actual rant.
I have a lot of... Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood yet?
You're going to see it tomorrow night.
Yeah,
okay.
we're going to go see it tomorrow.
We're going to talk about it next week then, because I don't even want to, like, set any expectations. Because I think it's definitely a movie that's best enjoyed without expectations. But,
without expectations?
Yeah. That's what I'll say. I have really... And also, I think it'll be better, at least for me, to, like, talk about it next week anyway, because I'm still processing a lot of my... It's such a dense movie. And I feel like I'm still dissecting. I may even watch it, like, on Wednesday on my day off or something. Because there's so much stuff I have to say about that movie, and I'll leave it at that.
So you'd be really far.
Yeah, what was I even queuing on? All I'll say is, like, they think the Clintons ran a child pedophile ring out of a Pizzagate, but it turned out they ran it off an airplane. At least 50% of the Clintons.
Good old Billy Bill.
Really, like 75%, because I think it's, like, fairly well accepted that, like, Hillary at least was like, yeah, let's stop talking about this now. So it's like 60% at the least. Because I don't think you can hold someone more than 20% accountable for something they didn't do.
Has intel been dropped?
This is what we know. A lot of child sex trafficking happened on the plane known as the Lolita Express.
The Lolita Express.
That's what they called the plane.
Yeah, that's really creepy. I know.
Bill Clinton was on that plane like 22 fucking times. I know it's a double digits number. I know that for a fact. I don't know if I'm getting the number exactly right. It is a literal impossibility that he wasn't fiddling some kids, as they say in the parlance. Like, Chris Tucker was on the flight log like once. Like, Chris Tucker may not have diddled kids. He might have actually been going to a charity thing, and everyone else was like disappointed. And Chris Tucker's like, what's going on, guys? Why are you so disappointed? We raised a lot of... That would be me. Thank you. That was a close call. It's Passport. It's another beer.
Oh, okay. It looks like
It looks like the kind of beer I would drink, right?
Yeah, a sissy drink.
No, you're not. I'm cutting that out. It's gonna be a bleep. It's a good thing we're not censoring this podcast. I'm gonna say that up front to all the kids at home who have made it this far. Even though, like, I actually think that, like, swear words in media are a lot more entertaining when bleeped out.
Well, that's because they're given more power. Like,
yeah, like, actually, like, if I were running a comedic TV show on Netflix, I would still bleep out the swear words.
Or at least certain swear words. Like,
no, I would bleep, like, even, like, piss. I would bleep out piss.
Are we doing the George Carlin list then?
Yeah, well, because I think just, like, swear words are much more impactful and funny now if you bleep them. Because, like, we can swear now. The internet exists.
Well, yeah, and also because...
So, like, even though Netflix would let me swear, I would just like, no, I won't let you buy my show unless you bleep out the swear words. So I just think that's, like, it's like...
It has
There's no reason not to do it because it's A, more commercially viable still, because it's still, like, easier to get your shit on TV if it doesn't swear. But then also B, it's like it actually makes it funnier.
Well, it depends on if you're trying to do a comedy.
Well, even if, like, I guess, like, yeah, if you're making, like, whatever the gritty reboot of, like, Schindler's List is, maybe not bleep out the swear words.
Schindler's List. Well, I guess you wouldn't bleep it out. You just give them one fuck, PG-13 it. Because, I mean, that's the other way to give it more power, is to just use it once.
These stinking fascists are hurting all of the people of alternative races. That'll be like in 10 years when we learned that, like, all the comedians were actually right about censorship.
The comedians were right.
Good.
Good, thank you.
Do you want some more iced tea?
Yeah, one more, please. Why the hell did I see it talking? What is that?
It's a phone commercial.
Yeah, the cricket commercial.
The little...
Have you ever seen a cricket
This is a great, just random interruption. The little, like, Furby-looking things, they're like the network. I don't understand the internal logic of TV commercials whatsoever.
I don't understand, like, okay, I hate commercials so much that that's the only, well, like, not the only, but it's like 85% of the reason I stopped watching network TV. Because it just pisses me off.
Commercials are actually, like, I kind of almost enjoy them now in a sick, perverse sense. Because I like how fucking bizarre they are.
I mean, that's the new in thing, isn't it?
Well, but something like that, it's not supposed to be bizarre. That's the thing. Like, yeah, they're also like the weird ones where, like, it'll be like Burger King commercial. It'll just be like some guys walking in with, like, saggy jeans or whatever. And it'll be like, I want a 20-piece chicken nugget. There's like, we don't serve those. And it's like, have it your way, waka waka. And then the premise of the commercial, he should have walked into McDonald's for this imaginary premise to make sense. But then he'll be like, Fortnite, waka waka. And it's supposed to be it's supposed to be so bad, it's supposed to be ironic.
It just sounds bad.
What about the Subway commercials?
Those are also...
Boyhood, but a commercial
Oh,
for
yeah. Did you ever see that?
She did.
Oh, God bless. Yeah, that one's incredible.
Everyone I know saw that.
Phil,
I made sure of it.
Unfortunately for, like, the 5 listeners who you won't know, I'm getting real optimistic for the first episode. So for the 5 people that you're not going to know, they'll have no idea what we're talking about. So I'm just going to summarize real quick.
Look up the 2-minute Subway commercial.
So if you just type in 2-minute Subway commercial, I think you have to include the word boyhood into the title, and I think that'll pop up.
Do that.
So
Just link it.
it's basically, if you've seen the movie Boyhood by, it's a Linklater film, right?
I have no earthly idea.
Pretty sure it's a Linklater film. It's like with Linklater, Ethan Hawke. Basically, it's about a child's life, but the gimmick is that they just actually filmed a scene every year as the child got older and the adults got older. So anyway, they did that, but, like, not actually filming the child as they got older without the gimmick. But then it ends with, like, so they show, like, him, like, peeking on some chick, like, changing and, like, getting to his first fist fight and shit like that. And then it ends, and he's, like, walking to the store as an adult, finally fully formed human. And it's like,
a Subway.
How may I help you?
Welcome to Subway.
Welcome to Subway. Which I guess, like, the only way you could possibly tie that in is if you think like the fucking sandwich artist at the end of the commercial is either the chick he banged, because there's also so I skipped out the craziest part, which they imply for about 10 seconds he lost his virginity at some point. So it's either the chick he was spying on, the chick he lost his virginity to, or maybe both, because all three were brunettes.
Maybe it was the same person?
Which is even creepier if that's the case. It's like they're just trying to sexualize their sandwich artist. It's like, hey kids who are 14, don't understand the feelings in your groins? Come to Subway, we'll figure them out for you.
Jesus. There's the news. Eat Fresh has all new meaning.
Eat Fresh. We'll teach you all about the $5 foot long hair.
Oh my god.
Foot long's a bit of a stretch, isn't it?
But anyway,
it's always a bit of a stretch.
That one,
That's how that works.
That one I think is at least intentionally bizarre. Whereas like the Burger King I want to describe, a lot of the Burger King, all the fast food restaurants now are just whipping off the Wendy's thing where they like are just like, why are you eating here, you fat pig? Get back to the fields.
2016. Oh look, Wendy's is sharing.
Like it was really funny because like you wouldn't. The thing is like it was funny for when it was just Wendy's because like like it was genuinely like a great innovation because like you wouldn't expect like the official account of Wendy's to like call you like a closeted homosexual.
It's
and then Burger King came out and was like, your mother's dead and no one loves you. And then it's just like, now if everyone does it, now it's just like every fast food restaurant's just an asshole.
Except Subway is just over here in left field.
Except for Subway, who's doing the Boyhood commercial.
Maybe it's them trying to recover from the whole Jared controversy.
Maybe having us spying on an implied 15-year-old after the Jared controversy.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Not a great move.
Not a good look.
Way to go, Subway. You did it.
I wonder if they used Jared, because another, like, this was filmed for Brazil. This is, to my knowledge, never aired in the U.S.
The Boyhood commercial?
Yeah.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Although they do say "Welcome to Subway" in English, so I could be wrong. Like, it's not like subtitled. Like, they just say "Welcome to Subway."
Maybe they say it in English in Brazil.
I think it was supposed to be just like their generic international commercial, which probably means like everywhere in the U.S., but the U.S. for like 2 weeks, and then like they're like, oh, the marketing came in. According to the data, implying that the main character wants to fuck the sandwich lady, not a great marketing strategy. Sales decrease.
Except I doubt it.
Which whatever fucking nerdoid is in charge of that.
I guarantee you
Are they going to guarantee me that Subway's sales went up?
Well, more people talked about it because of that commercial. And
I've never bought that bullshit about like publicity. So this will be a good Mason rant / hot take.
There is actually such a thing as bad publicity.
There is actually such a thing as bad publicity.
Publicity.
In fact, I would argue that the Streisand effect is largely a myth that has been perpetuated by, like, I wouldn't say like a myth necessarily, because like it's a real thing that sometimes happens, but like,
yeah, where you try to keep things secret and they end up just getting more.
It's confirmation bias.
That's fair.
Where like, because this happens 5% of the time, people are like, oh, Trump's trying to silence all the journalists. Streisand effect. He just beheaded Nancy Pelosi. Streisand effect.
Well, I mean, I think that
clever girl
publicly, actively, clumsily trying to hide things is going to make them more.
That's, I think, is sort of the key component to this Streisand. Yeah, that's all. I know it's kind of a hot mess over here. I apologize. So
because I'm here. Sorry.
We've already listen. I want to be clear. We've already established I'm the skanky hoe of the group.
Yes, but I'm the hot mess.
Isn't that implied to be the same thing?
I don't know.
Not necessarily.
I don't
because
speak
like
this
if I had to choose between the two, I would still be a hot mess for sure. I mean, look at my hair right now. This is awful.
It's beautiful.
I say on this auditory medium, which will really capture the awfulness of my hair.
He looks like a hair commercial. Maybe it's Maybelline too. Don't worry about it.
Maybelline is makeup.
Oh shit!
It's a Pantene commercial, man.
What I am,
Never
I'm
mind.
the before picture of the Axe body spray commercial before it magically gets the guy laid 30 times.
Ah, yes.
That's my energy right now.
That's your energy permanently?
No, like literally just in this moment.
Oh, okay, fair.
I've had sex before, believe it or not. Hi, Mom. There's no way my mom will listen. My dad might. Hi, Dad. So,
As long as my parents don't listen to it, I don't think I could handle that.
anyway, I just don't buy whatsoever. Now, I do buy the sort of like Gillette sort of like hyper-targeted outrage ad.
Which one? Aren't there
Well,
like two?
the all men are assholes. We're gonna fix them with razors commercials.
Or let's make each other better thing.
Like sort of converting outrage into apology and garnering like free good press while also like putting the brand name out by having everyone talk. Like that's a very real thing.
Well, that's outrage marketing. That's deliberate.
Yeah, like outrage marketing is a real thing. I'm saying that like bumbling Burger King like clumsily stumbling into like accidentally implying all black people are monkeys with their Burger King commercials.
That was not
Not a real controversy, by the way. Don't Google that. It's not real. I was just making up an imaginary one. So I would argue that
It sounded very familiar, so I was like, oh.
it sounded familiar. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that one. No, it's just a theoretical I'm making up.
Well, I mean, like, there's this whole thing recently I remember about, like, black people being compared to monkeys and stuff, and I was just not having it.
That was a Roseanne tweet. It wasn't a a commercial.
It was like a corporate entity doing something.
I'm sure it happened at some point. I was just making something up, which kind of proves the potency. But my point is like when like the racist. We'll use a real example. So like when the racist Papa John's, like it's the doofuses who are like I get the whole like outrage marketing is a thing. Like that, like Gillette has really, for example, Gillette and Nike are the two companies that have really tapped into that super effectively by like basically triggering the cons.
Well, I mean, triggering the cons is more or less the only effective way to do it, because otherwise you just get shamed.
Well, triggering the libs is just called like being an asshole.
Well, I mean, like, unless it's a very specific kind of brand, like, you can trigger the libs by making Make America Great Again hats.
I guess,
and selling them, but that's it.
I think that would work though. Like, because again, like, so. Like the kind of person who is like all cops are bad on Twitter, like is gonna buy anything more than they have to anyway. Like they're fully committed to the idea of socialism. Who you're really trying to trigger if you're like making like a Joe Rogan sponsored commercial is you're trying to get like Wine Mom to like be mad for 2 days and forget about it. And so basically what you're really trying to do with the outrage is basically you're trying to get everyone on the not real life sphere that is Twitter to talk about it for a week. And like everyone has to have their take. You notice how I never had a Gillette take? Because it's
cares.
fucking dumb. Like, okay, they made like a mildly like positive. It's like, okay, congratulations, a corporation is donating $3 million to like not being a rapist.
Yeah, we're doing.
That's like 0.0001% of the profit. They literally spent more money on the ad than they did donating to charity.
Almost assuredly. Actually, that's probably factual.
No, it's factual. Like you can look it up because because they're publicly traded, they have to disclose their financials. It's not like people are just implying like with. No, I will eventually eat this. I promise.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
It's like, but like Gillette has a real thing, but like again, like Papa John's stumbling into like the Papa John's guy, like getting caught leaking the N-word. That's not like some genius. Like so many lefties were just like, oh, it's some genius stealth marketing campaign, and now Papa John stock's going through the roof, baby.
No, it's
like
not.
no,
People just didn't like him more.
Well, so the whole
his
like
pizza was already bad.
the whole theory though is like that like the not real life sphere has is that like, oh, it'll go down initially, but then it'll go up because it's in the conversation. Like, no, that's not how it works.
No.
Guess what? Papa John's is now like, it was like the second most popular pizza in America. Now it's like 10th.
Colin
Now you're
Kaepernick
correct in
getting
the sense
signed
that
to
like
Nike was
you're-
genius.
Yeah, like that's genius. Because like, first of all, like Colin Kaepernick is just a really charismatic guy. So like, I think the people don't understand about Colin Kaepernick is that like Colin Kaepernick is just really a really smart guy, which is what I never thought I would say about the guy who once tweeted #storms coming with sevens after like Hurricane Katrina. What was the one that hit Texas really badly? Not the Houston one. I think it was Harvey.
Yeah, it was Harvey.
It was like after Harvey hit here, like it was like 2 days after he was going to be playing in Houston, and he's like, "Storm's coming, baby."
Jesus.
Oh boy.
It's the controversy no one remembers. Which, like, again, I'm not knocking the guy. Like, people do stupid shit like that all the time. I decided that the world needed more white people making podcasts. So I understand, like, stupid decisions happen all the time. But it's still, like, really funny that, like, the conservatives never dig that up and try to use that against them.
I mean, especially after, tan suit and Dijon mustard.
Yeah, like, that would be just, it's just, like, it just, like, sort of faded into the ether. And it was kind of, I wouldn't say it was a big deal in the sense that, like, Kaepernick now is a bigger deal than any football player in human history by far, and it's not even close.
And he's not even playing.
Yeah, which is very fascinating. But it was still, like, in the football world, it was a big deal. Like, within the not real life of, like, football Twitter, like, people were, like, genuinely upset about it. And then he had, like, another controversy that no one ever remembers. Now, this was, like, sort of in, like, the Kaepernick is an activist era. But, like, he wore, like, a t-shirt that like, basically depicted, like, all cops. It was just, like, a piggy cop t-shirt. That's really what it was. Which, like, again, that's just factually true. Sorry. I'm just going to leave that. I'm not even going to explain that one, or, like, I'm just going to leave that hanging. Sorry to, like, the one police officer I know if on the odd chat during this podcast. I don't actually mean any of the things I say. Except for when I do.
It's your job to read between the lines.
Read between this asshole. They'll be begging for a bullet. Have you ever seen the trailer for Sin City?
No.
Great unintentional comedy. I just remember seeing it all the time when I was in, like, middle school.
Was that back when Bruce Willis actually shot more than one day?
Yeah, this was still, like, I mean, it was like when Bruce Willis was starting to not give a fuck. But it was still when, like, he would at least... So this was, like, really kind of at the beginning of, like, the Bruce... Like, the thing about Bruce Willis is he's always been willing to, like, try for, like, real, like, auteur actors. Like, he's never been quite as bad as his reputation suggests. Like, even in, like, Looper, right? So this is, like... So Looper is a movie... When did it come out? Like 2011, 2012?
Yeah.
Like, Bruce Willis's performance in Looper should have been nominated for an Oscar. And it's a travesty that it wasn't, because it was a phenomenal, like, A+, like, absolute top tier, like, one of the better performances of his career, up there with, like, Unbreakable and, like, the first Die Hard movie.
Okay. I can buy that.
Because it was just so intricate. There's so many... He had to play, like, basically two different characters. And so, the brilliance of that...
What?
Kind of. So, hear me out. Because he has to play... Because in the flashbacks, he has to play sort of the at-peace Bruce Willis that, like, gets married before they, like, send him back to kill his wife and then send him back to kill young him.
For a second, I thought that you were.
And then he also has to. No, he doesn't play Gordon. Yeah, no, he doesn't play him.
I thought you were saying that he.
So actually, and then he has to play the sort of, like, completely broken, degenerate old man that gets sent back in time, who also then he has to tune both of those performances to be a believable facsimile of what Joseph Gordon-Levitt would grow up to be. Like, the degree of difficulty of that performance is a 10 out of 10.
I believe it.
And he kills it. And my point is, like, this is, like, in, like, the super, like, Bruce Willis doesn't give a fuck anymore era, which is unbelievable. It just proves that, like, you know, if you're a director that knows about, like, what camera lens to use and shit, like, and he's, like, he picks up right, like, if you... The thing about Bruce Willis is, like, basically the first day he walks on set, he asks them a bunch of technical questions and, like, what are we doing here, what are we doing here? That the director doesn't know, like, what the fucking wide lens is, then he just decides, like, he's not going to try.
But,
like, Ryan Johnson's a fucking nerd. which I say that absolutely endearing, is the man who made the greatest movie of all time. But
Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
in case anyone forgot, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi is the greatest movie of all time. But, so I say it endearingly, but he's a nerd.
He knows his stuff.
Yeah. We're supposed to be like, so we're gonna use a telephoto lens here, or like 10 millimeter. He'll be like, telephoto, you fucking idiot. And then he'll be like, oh, okay.
What is this, amateur hour?
But, how'd I get on Looper?
Dude, I don't know. We were talking about Bruce Willis.
How'd I get on Bruce Willis? I was talking about like outrage culture or some shit.
Outrage marketing.
I was talking about like Gillette ads.
I honestly don't know how we got to Bruce Willis.
The labyrinth that is my mind is unconquerable.
Yeah, who's the idiot Minotaur that's stuck patrolling that
If
shit?
Leonardo did, no one's gonna get that reference, and we're not gonna ever explain it. Leonardo DiCaprio tried to inception my mind, he'd fucking die by like level 1.5.
You die.
He would just
Dark Souls style.
A fucking black pit would open up when I'm just like, oh, cheese, and then that would be the end of him. Like there wouldn't even be any like assassin like dream security like there was in Scarecrow's head.
Cillian Murphy?
Yeah, Cillian Murphy, aka Scarecrow. Like there won't be any dream security in my brain like there is in Cillian Murphy's brain. It'll just be like a completely impenetrable maze which will swallow Leo whole.
You mean young Jack Nicholson, right? I'm just gonna ruin DiCaprio for everyone by just saying that.
Here's the thing. Okay, there's a difference though. Jack Nicholson is overrated.
Oof.
He's good, but he's overrated. Like he's treated as like one of the great actors of his generation. Like basically, it's him and like Beatty and like who else is even from there? And, like he's way. Like, people treat him like he's Pacino and De Niro, and he's not.
He's an icon, sure, but...
I don't care about his fame. I'm just saying, like, as an actor. Like, he's got, like, 4 Oscars or some shit. Or maybe it's just Oscar noms. I actually don't think there are that many actors with more than, like, 1 win. Because of the weird thing Oscars have about, like, never giving people the Oscars they deserve. But...
Because
he's got, like, a bunch of nominations. Like, he got one for The Departed, which was, like, legitimately a bad performance.
Is it?
It's bad. Awful accents. Clearly did a bunch of coke on the set.
Oh yeah, he's supposed to be Irish, isn't he?
Yeah.
Departed.
The problem with Nicholson, he has one trick, which is play an angry macho guy. Even like his Joker, which, you know, just prepare yourselves podcast, is the most overrated performance in film history. I'm sure there's another one I'll come up with also, which I will immediately declare on the podcast is the most overrated performance in history. But his Joker, until I come up with the actual most overrated performance in history, is the most overrated performance in history. He doesn't actually do that much. He's just like, I killed your parents, Bruce. I promise this will go into they're just hostages right now, and I do apologize. Every time you walk by, you're just hearing me say, just like plug your ears while you walk by, it's fine.
You're killing me, bro.
So, Jackie Boy, Jack Nicholson, it's like, there's no depth to that performance. It's not really, it's just like crazy guy. But like it does actually weirdly have the signature Jack Nicholson anger, and especially in like the scenes before he paints his face. And he has the hots for like the only redeeming quality of that movie, well, there's 2. One, like Keaton is properly rated. He's fucking awesome.
Okay.
And 2, Batman kills a shitload of people.
You like it when Batman murders people?
Yeah, because it's a dumb premise. It's like, oh, I can't.
I will put them in the hospital before I kill them and then drown them.
Unless the like creator is like smart enough to play with the concept of it being dumb and arbitrary. Like to me, that's the biggest flaws of the Nolan films is that they hold on to, but they're not like self-aware about how like dumb and weird and arbitrary it is. Like in the first one, they try to do the loophole where like Liam Neeson's on the train. He's like, I don't kill people. but I don't have to save you either, even though I just beat the shit out of you and left you here to die on this fucking train.
Leaving somebody for dead
He went
is killing
full
them.
Tom Cruise in Collateral, where he was just like, I didn't kill you. The bullet in the fall killed him.
Guns don't kill people.
People kill people with guns.
How? Have a lot of guns and I shoot them good. Bruce Wayne, 2000, whatever.
16, Batman versus Superman.
No, but he kills people in that one.
Yeah, I know.
They don't try to hold on to the weird.
Yeah, like,
The problem with Batman v Superman
is everything.
is that it spends an hour and a half on this dumbass Justice League plot and this white Portuguese-ass boat.
The fact that you remember the name of the boat is the most impressive thing to me. Like, I can't even remember.
Ask me about a good movie, I'll just be like, yeah, the guy punched the guy, and then the good guy won after having sex with the girl. Ask me about a bad movie, I will recall every single detail.
Because it's trauma.
This is what, so, if anyone ever, like, we've been trying to solve, like, the core issue of depression in our lives. This is what it is. You just only remember the bad things that happen to you.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Like the movie Batman v Superman.
Or
Suicide Squad, which will, at some point, just be an entire 3 episodes. It'll just be like, well, what'll happen is, like, when you have to, like, do something that, like, is adultish and are not available, it'll just be like a one-man podcast. It'll just be talking about Suicide Squad for, like, an hour. It'll be like the Suicide Squad rewatchables. I'll just be like, oh, here's my favorite part. The man who can climb anything.
What are we, some kind of...
What are we so... To me, what I can't get over about Suicide is that we're gonna
tangent.
I'm gonna warn everyone now who's like, this will not be the last time you hear about Suicide Squad. I'll just say that. So,
let's just do it.
The thing about Suicide Squad is, like, so baffling is it's bad from, like, frame 1. After some weird-ass neon to, like, boring concrete color transition that makes no sense. It's just a 30-minute, like, music video where, like, every single music is just, like, the most obvious decision everyone's ever made. So they have, like...
Sympathy for the Devil for Amanda Waller.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, she's a bad, bad girl. Will Smith shaved his head. Black skinhead. We do not need to recall them all. I'm not talking about Suicide Squad right now.
Good.
I have had a traumatic enough week. We'll save that for...
Boris Johnson got elected. Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, now you're going to get me going.
It's rough.
You weren't already...
The other shining twin is now in charge of the Mother Nation.
How?
They're the shining twins, Trump and Boris.
No. How did this happen?
Because the conservative MPs are morons.
No.
It's how
That's not. I don't even talk about the micro level. Like, I understand, like, Britain is a country that, like America has, like, fallen into just a complete debauchery of, like, the complete degradation of intellect and culture and the things that it allegedly valued but never really did because
but guess who we
it was always secretly kind of an oligarchy.
Guess who we got it from? It definitely wasn't Pappy.
Pappy?
I don't know who the father nation would be if Britain was our mother nation, so just forget that metaphor ever existed.
I'm so confused. Okay, so...
Guess who we got the degeneration from? It wasn't from freaking Canada, it was from England.
Canada. That's true.
Like, even Scotland wants to get away, and they're still stuck there.
The debauchery of American culture.
And Scotland has Glasgow, which is the city that never sobers up.
A total shit show. But it's descending into fascism. I get that. What I don't understand is that this is allegedly a real world. This phone is real. I punch this table hard enough, I will break my hand or I will break the table. That's how the laws of physics work. I will break my hand, exactly. So, we understand that I feel things. The atoms don't actually touch, it's magnetic force.
Yes.
And yet within this construct of reality, we have, in one country, the dumbest, most senile person on the fucking planet with no redeeming qualities. Not even like a funny, like, goofy senile guy, but like a... Get the meatballs off the train! I didn't want to say that one too loud.
Yeah,
so I apologize if no one understood what I was hearing.
Yeah, just don't
basically, it was something racist I said in an old guy voice. So, anyways, That's who we elected to be the most powerful human being on the planet Earth. This is the Robert Baratheon of real life.
Except
And
Robert
we chose him.
Except Robert Baratheon was like, at least tragic.
And we chose him.
You're using "we" pretty liberally there.
We, as in like a collective, a Borg of stupidity and degeneration, chose this fool.
Okay. Where are we going with this?
And somehow, some way, after 2 years of just shit show after shit show after shit show, just like even that country was like, oh, get the baby float up. This guy's a fucking idiot. I can't believe these dumb Americans thought this was a good idea. And you're like, oh, okay. Even they get it. And they elected his fucking clone. It's like the same guy, but he even looks like the British version. It's like he's just a little bit tweetier and just a tiny bit more intellect.
Yeah, except
he's like a tweetier, smarter Trump. And I say smarter only to be clear, only as a comparative.
Well, I mean, yeah, like he's definitely
more... Like he can form complete sentences.
I think he's also definitely more shrewd in how he brands.
No, Boris Johnson's not... Listen, I don't want to hear anyone say Boris Johnson's shrewd or smart. He's not. He's just a bumbling idiot who, like... Well, I mean, by having no shame...
That's the thing, though. He knows that. Like,
but I don't think he does. Like... I actually don't think that, like, I just think he's, like, literally, he's not like McConnell, who at least knows that other people know that he's a fucking, like, reptile.
He's the only conservative MP that ever, like, managed to, get stuck on a zip line hanging like an idiot, like a plucked chicken, during the Olympics on national television to not have his career end. Like anybody else, their career would have been like over. They would have been a laughing stock. But
right, because like most people,
Boris.
What happens with most politicians? This is what I call the Wiener trait. Not after penis, but after
Anthony Weiner.
Anthony Weiner.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah. I'm glad that you even understood my wavelength. Where just like, what does this have to do with penis?
If you meant penis, you would said it.
That also would kind of work, but not as well. So Anthony Weiner has kind of like famously just not given up on being a politician, which is hilarious because like every time he tries to run, it's like, oh, he texted another girl his wiener, and his name is Anthony Weiner.
Like, it's how?
How? Again, allegedly not a simulation.
Oh, my boy Boris.
The proto-humans are fucking with us.
Proto-humans. The people who are running.
His clone. His tweety, like, slightly more articulate clone. There's even a shot of them both playing tennis. In, like, really tight, uncomfortable, like, granny tennis outfits. Just type in Donald Trump, Boris Johnson tennis. It's the most disturbing thing you'll ever see. Like,
that's a really high bar, but okay.
The killing fields of Cambodia have nothing on the shot of Boris Johnson and Donald Trump. Yes, I hope you're looking it up right now. So, drum roll, please.
This better be like then like.
Oh my god, he looks like.
You can literally even. Yeah. So look at there's another one of Trump doing exactly the same thing. And the Trump one's even crazier because you can see his granny panties through like the shorts.
I remember, I've seen that picture everywhere. I don't need that in my life. Please go away.
How? How?
No.
How?
Because the conservative MPs elected him.
I understand that like conservative politicians are dumb. They think the free market's a good idea. We already know they're dumb. They think that, like, white people are superior. We know they're dumb. We've seen white people rule the world for 1,000 years. It's been a total shit show. Maybe give someone else a chance.
We don't even season our food.
We don't even... It's like, you can't eat spicy food. Do you think you could run a complex global economy, white people? No, I don't think so. Maybe give another race a chance. what if we get beaten to death for a couple centuries?
I'd really
just
rather
for no reason.
I'd really rather not, to be honest.
I want to die, so to me, like, that would be an improvement.
Well, I mean,
so,
but like, I'd prefer to die immediately instead of slowly at the hands of,
you're being picky.
Yes. Well, I am being
Liberal snowflake.
And
so, anyway, maybe give another. Even if we put like the women in charge, that wouldn't be ideal.
Yeah, whoa! We're getting a little too far now.
No, but like maybe we should try something else. It clearly hasn't worked.
I mean,
all of human history is just like, oh, what if this time we manage to wipe out all the non-white people? And then they fail at it. They don't even succeed. You've gotten 40 tries in the last, 200 years. You'd think they would succeed once.
But no.
God, this is really... Oh, this is a good rant.
Well, it's because white people can't even agree on that.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, Italians aren't white. It's like, okay.
And then we decided that they are
Because it's not actually about, the melanin levels. It's just, how do you sound when you speak?
It's about whether you're in the end.
The stupid ape brain is just like, oh no, someone from the other tribe. They're gonna conquer me and take my women's. It clearly, white people have proven completely. See, that's the thing. The whole super racist black people ape thing. It's actually projectionism because all white people are just ape brains. Maybe we just need to give someone else a try. What if the whole superior race thing is actually just a massive inferiority complex? What if we're the most inferior race of them all? Has anyone tried that? No, I don't think so.
I don't even
Now, granted, if you look into African world history, a lot of murdering and pillaging.
Maybe humans are just garbage.
So that brings to the point. What if we just put women in charge?
What if we just deleted everyone?
We can't have women in charge because they'll let their emotions control them.
No, we can't have women in charge because they produce men, and men are evil. So we kill the women, we kill the men. And you know what? I'm liberal, so trans women are women, so we kill them too. And trans men, well, they're men too, so we kill them. Everybody dies.
What are we going to do about, quadruple chromosome birth defects?
They're already dead.
Oh, whatever. Anyway.
They're clearly inferior, so they die first.
And humanity. So...
Just give it all to the cats.
Anyway, this happened in real life. Boris Johnson. They're just I can't believe another country saw what was going on. It's that's going great. Let's do that. But British.
Every time I see a more recent picture of Angela Merkel's face, she just looks more gray. Not even hair. She's just withered and withered and
the biggest downside is honestly not the fact that humans around the world are losing more of their rights by the moment as we descend, as the late stages of capitalism make us descend to our most base and apish tribal instincts. The real tragedy is that my original fun theory of the Brits just kicking Brexit down the road for 50 years might not happen now.
Yeah, now they're just going to...
Because Boris is dumb enough, he'll just be nope, we're doing it.
No deal Brexit,
He'll do the full Bill O'Reilly. He's just fuck it, we're going live.
We'll do it live.
That's been finished for a while.
I mean, on the bright side, we'll finally see what happens when you let ultra-conservative idiots decide what to do with their country.
We already saw that.
Shit, you're right.
It was called Nazi Germany. But they were called the Nationalist Socialist. How about you shut the fuck up, Steven Crowder?
Well, the thing is you can call something a socialist, it doesn't make it a socialist.
Hashtag not a real Scotsman. Eat shit, Crowder.
No real Scotsman's a fallacy. Please don't use that phrasing.
Okay, so that's my Boris Johnson take. I just can't believe it. Again, we're living in it has to be a simulation, right? Because, again, how does...
A simulation of what? What could happen if...
Just some sick fuck aliens who are just, or proto-humans, whatever you want to call us.
It's a simulation of what happens
if
the world exists.
I might get another beer in a little bit. Thank you.
It's a simulation of what happens if we let humanity exist beyond 2012.
Maybe. When was the whole Mayan thing supposed to be?
2012.
What if it was just real?
The world ended.
I feel like, now I understand this is not an original thought.
Well, yeah, no.
It's either that or like the Harambe thing, which is like broke society.
Harambe just leveled society.
Harambe was like the only source of stability left. He was like a golden god who was like reincarnated in the Cincinnati Zoo for generations. And then before the golden god Harambe, I actually don't know if Harambe has any kids, so I have no clue if this theory makes any sense. I'm sure like whoever's in charge of the genealogy at Cincinnati Zoo can answer this for me. Hey, Cincinnati Zoo's genealogy guy, if you're listening, hit me up at Twitter, at Real Mason Roth, spelled with just an O. At Real Mason Roth. Follow me on Twitter, Cincinnati Zoo genealogy guy. Hit me up. Let me know if Harambe had reproduced before he was his life was tragically taken instead of a small 8-year-old child.
Well, I mean, you kind of answered your own question, though. Like, meme culture is more or less responsible for everything.
Nah, because, like, memes have been a thing before, like, the internet. It's just, like, before our idea with memes was, like, just, like, repeating the Anchorman quotes.
Okay, that was a ripoff, but I'll allow it. Right, yellow card retracted. But that being said, I mean, you know, there's a difference between Anchorman quotes and then, like, the massive amount of culture that's generated on a second-to-second level. Like, the fact that Harambe took over the internet and people were, like, dicks out for Harambe, that's a fundamentally different cultural shift than...
Sure, because culture shifts.
And, why don't you go back to Horror Island?
Like yeah, memes are different.
Okay, my bad. Let me put it this way.
It's like, yeah, because Harambe wasn't a thing in the 1980s.
Modern meme culture is the catalyst for what's happening in the world right now.
I disagree.
It's one of the catalysts.
I don't even think it's I think the meme thing is so overblown. Like, we had these memes in the 1800s. They were called jokes. People told them in the alleys of, like, that as they were fighting off, like, Timmy's third bout with influenza with leeches. They were like...
Well, I mean, like, okay, so...
Have you heard about the night? I can't even do, like a pre-1900s American, like, New England accent. But I was just going to say something racist. It's not that funny. I was going to use the word, like, Negro, and then I was going to imply, like, something about, like, back in the cotton fields. You get the idea. Anyway, like, jokes existed before, like what we call memes now, they're just a joke format. It's no different than, like, a knock-knock joke. A knock-knock joke is a joke format. A Drake point meme is a joke format.
Okay, so that's fair.
The knock-knock joke was the first meme.
Okay, so what's the cultural zeitgeist doing?
I think the cultural zeitgeist is really, like...
Or what's triggering this? Not triggered.
I think that's just like the way humanity was always destined to go. As soon as we were just like, what if people were allowed to talk to each other whenever? That was when we went downhill. Just as soon as we invented the telegram, it was over.
Yeah, because then we allowed the idiots to mobilize.
Game over, man. Game over.
Once the idiots find out they're not alone, well, then there's more idiots.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's Boris Johnson, the existential dread of why humanity shouldn't be allowed to exist anymore. Well, it's all Boris Johnson.
Well, I mean, he's not even part 2 electric boogaloo. He's like the 3rd or 4th. We got the guy in Brazil.
Yeah, but the Sao Paulo or whoever. I don't think.
Sao Paulo's the name of the city.
Jesus Christ. I want to say Maduro, but that's Venezuela.
Yeah, that's Guaido and Maduro.
Yeah, whatever. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy.
No, really, like, the first, like, kind of version of this is, like, Duterte.
He's a dictator, literally. Like, he's
He's
literally classified by, by world powers as a dictator.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, you might as well say Kim Jong-il is the first one, then.
I suppose. Like, I guess the difference between Trump is just, like, it's, like, the sheer idiocy in combination with, like, people are like, yes, let's do this. Whereas, like, Kim Jong-il is a buffoon who thinks he's good at basketball, even though he's, like, A, Korean, and B, has never had a basketball in his life.
I'm talking about Il or Un, because Il's dead.
They were both obsessed with basketball. It doesn't even matter which one I'm talking about. No, like, that's why, like, that's why Dennis Rodman is saving the world from nuclear apocalypse as we speak. because the Kim Jong family is like obsessed with American basketball. Holy shit. Sorry, I was watching something on TV. Anyway, so it's like the difference between like Kim Jong dynasty and Donnie is that people sat down and were like, this is a good idea.
With Donald Trump, yeah.
And then the craziest fucking thing about Britain is they saw this for 2 years. They were like, oh, everyone's getting put into a cage. Every single press conference is just a fucking embarrassment for like literally 85% of the population. Like even just like the awful like normal streamlined like main evangelical conservative is embarrassed by Trump. They just like the laws he passes.
Well, yeah, that's the important thing.
Like even Pat Robertson, when he's like jerking it to the crucifixion of Christ for the 30th time, and then he flips on the TV, he's like, can't wait to put the brown in the cages. I assume that's the noise that Pat Robertson makes.
All right,
even he, when he sees Donnie on TV, is like, Jesus Christ, don't tell them that's the plan.
I mean, I guess we have to cast Anthony Hopkins for a Pat Robertson.
So it's really like, I can tell you, this is the only demographic on Earth who isn't like, that guy's a fucking idiot. It's the guy who's living in a single room house in the middle of nowhere with 2 acres of slowly decaying corn because they can't afford the pesticides to get their bushel up. Yes, that is a dick joke. They can't afford the pesticides to get their bushel up. And they blame the Mexicans for it. While like Monsanto gets like an army of them to just like to prune their fields to like perfection for like 80 cents an hour.
Oh yeah, Monsanto. My favorite.
That's the person who's like, yeah, tell them the truth, Donnie.
Yeah, Monsanto.
Because they gave up on school in the 6th grade and they dropped out in the 10th grade. That's his entire, like, people were actually like, this is a good idea. Everyone else is like just he's a convenient idiot for either just like the overt racism or just like tax breaks. And so my point is like, Donald Trump is not actually popular.
Well, no.
And people overseas, because this is a demographic that it's not exclusively American, but it is sort of very American in the sort of like broken urban environments of just like 50 years of just letting fucking opioids just ravage middle America. Meanwhile, you just don't put a single fucking federal dollar into any other schools. Like it's kind of a uniquely American problem. And so like to everyone else, even like Boris is like, Donnie, he's a fucking idiot. I don't know what people see in him. Meanwhile, he's like sitting there like flossing his teeth with hay. And like, you realize if you drink more tea, Grandpa Boris, that the wooden teeth will start to like rot. You're not allowed to swish it in your wooden teeth mouth. And he's like, Brexit. That's Boris Johnson.
Oh yes, Boris Johnson.
I thought I was going to be tame today.
I mean, comparatively, this is pretty tame.
This is your fault. You were like, hey, Mason, Boris Johnson. And I popped off.
Well, hey, at least I wasn't like, hey, could you give us a recap of the Twitter is not real life rant? Because I want you to yell right now in this restaurant and get us kicked out.
I still have to pay. They're not going to kick me out until I pay. That's when I get another beer.
Please do not yell about Twitter is not real life.
The very lovely waitress who has been so kind to me and is getting a wonderful tip.
Just the tip? Actually, no, let's not do that. Let's not.
Lana! Just a tip.
Let's not sexually harass waitresses. That's bad. That's bad form, guys.
Yeah. I'm sure, like, especially if they work here, like, Friday or Saturday, they probably get that enough. I've never understood the sexual harassment move. Like, I understand, like, what a psychologist will tell me, like, oh, like, it's about asserting power or some bullshit like that. But, like, still, like, the baseline level, like, when someone tries to justify it, like, yeah, I gotta get the dick wet. And it's like, A dick picture is worth 0 times in human history. This is documented 0 times.
Yeah, especially as an opening.
Even on like Madison, even on like Ashley Madison, the website where it's just about awful people cheating each other, the dick pic only works if you've got like a 10-inch like chode schlong, like just thicker than a Monster Energy can.
Jeez.
It's like, yeah, I saw a fisting video and I was like, that wasn't enough dick. That's the only time that move works on Ashley Madison. Otherwise, you gotta have the body shot, or you just stick with like a bad like dad selfie, and are just like, my wife is cheating. Ashley Madison is one of the saddest places. I don't know if you've ever logged into that website.
Isn't it like 80% bots too?
It is, but there are real people on. They actually.
There was a leak, I remember.
Well, like pre-leak, before they just ran on a budget at like $5. Like they actually that was why the site was so popular. Was because like you'd actually find other it was one like the Get Laid website that actually kind of worked.
Sorry.
Because it had a hook, and so because it had a hook, and because the human adult male is an idiot, like no adult male was like, I'm just gonna pretend to cheat on my wife. No one thought of that, and so it was actually like a 50-50 sausage to taco ratio. Like that was the genius of the site, is because like again, adult males are idiots. They were like, oh no, this is a website for cheaters. I'm just trying to get my dick wet. It's like, what is she gonna do? Call your wife and confirm that you're cheating? It's like the easiest thing to lie about. Ashley Madison, don't. To all the people who I'm sure there are numerous listening to the pod right now, don't try to use Ashley Madison to get laid anymore. You'll just get your credit card stolen. It doesn't work anymore because everyone's information got compromised. Sad day for the worst people on earth.
Wow,
they just never get a solid good one for them, do they?
We're raising that bar, aren't we?
No, I'm just kidding. Boris Johnson's the worst person on earth. So, how did I end up talking about Ashley Madison? I was talking about Boris. So we got done with Boris, the best boy.
Oh, dick pics.
Yeah, dick pics.
So anyways, the dick pic, so like the whole harassment thing. Harassment, as I would say. Like, it's never actually... It doesn't work. That's the thing. You know how many people have successfully picked up a waitress at a bar? 2. Their names are Brad Pitt and Warren Beatty. Those are the only 2 people in human history that has worked for. And Tiger Woods, because we know about the embarrassing story behind the dumpster. 3 people in human history have successfully accomplished this.
That's all because they're attractive, famous, and have money?
Attractive, famous, ripped, and have money.
You just said attractive twice.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think ripped qualifies as attractive.
Fucking some real alpha shit. Sorry, Timmy the construction worker with that dock bod where you're kind of strong but still fat. Like, guess what? Dad bods, those are so 2014. Hipster chicks aren't into that shit anymore. You know what they're into? Skinny white guys with thick framed glasses and afros. That's the shit they're into now.
Why are you calling me out right now?
Yeah, show me your... Joel right now is just... So for those in the podcast, he just started fluffing it into an afro. As you know, a great visual medium, this podcasting is. So, like, he's already digging the wig. Celeste is just like, oh, finally, this is what I've been gunning for, because I couldn't get a real hipster. I was basically just trying to find, like, a 4 boyfriend and feed him red candies until he evolved into a 7. This is, like, the meanest shit you can only say to your best friend. No one else, like, ever actually say this to another human being, or it won't work. You'll just get punched in the face.
Oh, is that why there's tape on your glasses?
Yeah, actually, it's a binding adherence. It's for my medical condition. So, anyway, harassment doesn't work. Don't try it. Like, listen, you know what's easier and, like, again, not all that expensive? Get a prostitute.
You know how many times
it's like $200 for, like, 30 minutes and, like, you gotta come twice.
You know how many times a dick pic has actually worked? Probably 0.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, it's worked 0 times. Like, even, like, the whole, like, try to pick up... Because, again, like, no one's, like, trying to, like, get dick while they're at work.
They're trying to work and get that money.
All right, yeah, the 35-year-old smoking, like, I know not smoking doesn't smoke a hot, I mean, like, literally smoking cigarettes waitress with, like, dirty blonde hair. She may call you hun. She just knows she's going to get that money and then, like, never remember your name. And I'm not hating. I'm not hating. I'm all about getting the cheddar. Even though I'm a white guy, I was like, the world needs another podcast because I got to get me some of that podcast cheddar.
Even though it doesn't exist.
No, podcast is all... Listen, the goal is this is going to be a Ringer podcast by, like, 2023.
This is going to be a what?
The Ringer?
The Ringer?
It's like the only pop culture website left on Earth that makes money. It's a Bill Simmons project, and basically they make all their money on podcasts because no one reads their articles.
Oh.
They make like $10 million a year, and it's like all on podcasts.
Jesus.
Allegedly, it's not a publicly traded company, so this is like reported as opposed to like actual income. But like they clearly make mad bank. So now the problem is like about every 50 or so minutes, there's some rant about like the capitalist pigs, and so it's going to be hard to get ads. Well, yeah. But I am a good ad reader.
Speaking of which, this podcast is brought to you by whatever the fuck. I don't know.
But I didn't want people to think there's an actual ad read and start skipping. So here's the thing. It's not going to work because what's going to happen? The podcast is a bubble that will burst as soon as people realize. Like every person who listens to the podcast just hits the 15-second skip button until the ad music turns on. I do it while I'm driving the car and I'm like risking vehicular homicide to skip the ads.
Because advertisements are evil.
Like pod ads, no one listens to them.
We're never getting advertisements.
And now like podcasters have like tried to like spice up the ad reads by like not putting the ad music on there or like making it a running bit. So like Bill Burr's the original one who's like Zip Recruiter. And then he'll do like a 5-minute stand-up bit on Zip Recruiter.
I have no idea what that is, but okay.
It's on like every podcast. Listen to a podcast. Congratulations, you know what Zip Recruiter is.
Okay.
And like
cool.
MeUndies. You ever felt like your balls are too sweaty? Sweaty balls like the SNL ad. Get MeUndies. They'll make the ball sweat go away. So that's like every podcast. Congratulations. Like I've already read the ads. Pay me. I think that's the law. If you have to pay me per view now, so they give you a free ad.
Per view?
That's actually how most online ads work. It's usually like half a cent per view.
Oh, yeah.
But it is actually the metric that
I can't wait to
use.
make a whole penny.
Like a whole penny. Listen, I think we can get to 5 pennies. It's gotta like spam this shit on like 4chan. Like 5 people will click on it.
You know what they call 5 pennies in America? A nickel.
That's a good point. How did I talk about ads? I still haven't even gotten to like the main thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, I want to hear about the Gambinos, man.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, I can't look up the article now because I realized my phone is the microphone. So I'm going to put this down, and I'll just try to recall this from memory. I remember the important bits. So the head crime boss of the famous Gambino family, one of the 5 heads, one of the Al Pacinos,
one of the 5 families
of real life, was murdered in his home. Now, I want both of you to guess who did it. You don't have to give me a name, because obviously you're not going to know a name.
I'm going to guess a close family member. Like,
wrong.
Statistically
go.
Okay,
just guess.
You're not a close family member.
You're not going to get it right anyway. It doesn't matter. I just want to get like 4 guesses.
Hit by a car?
No. I told you he got whacked in his home, and you guessed a car accident.
Paying attention.
And you guessed a car accident. You were like, so he got whacked in his home. Must be a car.
Well, I mean,
I've seen TV.
Hang on. You know, like semi-trucks can drive through.
That's technically true, but no, you're wrong.
I watched a show like 2 days ago where a guy drove into it.
To be fair to her, I said you would never guess it. So that is a guess that like no reasonable person would make. All right, Joel, one more guess.
I'm not a reasonable person.
I don't know, a cop.
Wrong.
I'm not guessing again.
Come on, it's fun. Listen, you're gonna feel no shame in getting it wrong because I'll tell you the answer, and you're gonna be like, "Holy shit, how did that happen?"
Say a
Fucking,
profession.
like, maid or some shit.
The mayor. That is a good
The
guess.
maid.
The maid. Also a wrong guess. The mayor and the maid. No, it was someone who was a 4chan user on QAnon. A legitimate pizza gator. Like a guy who thinks like the Clinton family's running a child sex ring out of a pizza parlor.
Instead of an airplane?
Instead of an airplane. Was like, you know who's probably, you know who I need to whack?
The head of the Gambino.
And he walked into his house and killed him.
Wait. Are we talking like one of the old dudes or like the active head?
Like the active head. He just whacked like the 8th most powerful person on Earth.
Jesus Christ.
Got whacked by like some 22-year-old internet user who's like never had his wee-wee touched by a girl.
Some meme lord who's like, let's just end the Gambino crime family. That's
Yeah. Let's see here. I probably should have been looking because I knew I was going to be getting another one soon. I'm sorry. I'm just a hot mess. This is. It's. I appreciate your lies. I'll just have another passport.
The passport, did you want more SD?
you know what? Sure. Yeah, thank you. Fuck it.
I was broken. I was like mid-rant. I was just talking about
QAnon.
Yeah, just like some like 22-year-old virgin was just like iced a mod like the closest thing to Al Pacino in real life.
So like I'm just trying to like imagine like some
Other than Al Pacino in real life.
I'm trying to imagine like Michael Cera walking in on
No, like Michael Cera is way too cool to be a QAnoner.
what Jesse Eisenberg? No, he's too no.
Basically, like
Jesse
like
Eisenberg's like an evolved
Kevin
Michael
Smith,
Cera.
but not funny.
Kevin Smith walking in on Marlon Brando during his "You come into my house on my daughter's wedding," and then he shoots him.
Yeah, what happened is he was
What?
great. So he was trying to do a citizen's arrest.
Oh,
He
so
decided-
he's one of those people.
He was like
Is
time
he,
to.
like one of the free
He
travelers.
believed he was Trump's chosen man to like start cleansing the world of the whatever the QAnon Illuminati is.
the deep
The
state.
the deep state. Thank you.
Wait, the
he was like-
Gambinos are in the deep state?
They are,
News to me.
according to him. See, so the thing about QAnon is like there's not actually like a coherent ideology. It's basically they have like their classics. You know, your George Soros is in all of like the variations of the conspiracy.
Because George Soros is easy.
The Clintons
He's like the Rupert Murdoch for
and
liberals.
really those two. I mean, am I missing someone main and like
Clinton, Soros,
Obama?
Obama. Not even really Obama. Like he's just too.
He's just kind of there. I think Obama's part of like most deep state conspiracies.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because he's buddies.
Well, Nancy Pelosi.
Oh yeah.
That's
and
it.
Chuck Schumer.
And then it's basically just like whoever is the most powerful guy within like 500 meters.
So the
The guy who's like still using dial-up on his like shitty like 2-acre ranch thinks that like the used car salesman Hickleby, who's gonna turn bad credit into good credit, is part of the deep state. So, like, this guy lived in Staten Island, and so he was like, oh, Gambino guy, he must be part of the deep state. Like, people just find the most powerful... That's how the QAnon conspiracy... Like, each person... The QAnon conspiracies are like snowflakes. Not like as in, like, sensitive snowflake stuff, but like, they're unique. Every single one. Each one has their own variation of it. Like, some of them, like, John F. Kennedy is alive and going to run for president in 2020. Some of them, Hillary Clinton and Justin Bieber are a reptile who have been fucking and creating new reptiles. But guess what? There's a flavor for everyone. It's like going to Culver's and or not Culver's, what's the ice cream place?
Baskin Robbins.
Dairy Queen.
Baskin Robbins is what I was thinking of. It's like going to Baskin Robbins, but instead of ice cream that makes you fat, it's conspiracy theories that drop your IQ below 50 points. I did not mean to offend anyone who's listening who's IQ under 50 points. Or any apes for that matter. This is not about you, it's about them.
You're one of the good ones.
You're one of the good ones, exactly. So,
oh my god.
He was like, so his first plan was to arrest Mayor de Blasio. Really? And he tried to break into his home and couldn't find him, so he just left.
He couldn't?
And somehow didn't get arrested. This is where I wish I had the article in front of me, because the article explained how he got away with this.
You know what? I'm not gonna have
And then his next plan was like to arrest an Oregon senator by like getting
one of the people who's like fleeing from the state.
I think so.
The cons are the ones that were fleeing from the state, though.
Maybe it was AOC or something. I can't remember. It wasn't someone as famous as AOC, but it was basically like liberal senator with like a mildly high profile. It was like his ambitions went down after de Blasio. He was like, what if I can just start... He like tried to start a GoFundMe to like get traveled over to Oregon so he could do a citizen's arrest. And then after he couldn't get the money, he was just like, fuck it, I'll go next door and arrest this mobster. And then the mobster is like, I'm not going with you. You don't have a warrant, and you're stupid. Thank you. I'm not going with you. I have a warrant, and I'm not an idiot. And also, I can have your entire family killed, presumably, is what he was thinking. And then the guy just panicked and shot him like 10 times. And that was how... And then the best part is, like, the FBI spent, like, 2 months trying to figure out if there was another, like, mob war looming. But nope, turned out it was just, like, humorless Kevin Smith.
Wait, this was on NPR. Frank Cali killed in New York.
The New York Times article, so yes, that's that story, but the New York Times article is the one that goes into detail. Now, most of this information is from the guy's attorney, so you do have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, but I do believe it, like, the core of the story, like, because, like, mob wars don't happen anymore.
Yeah, whereas, because it's not good for business.
Like, real life is just dumb now.
I'm just going to type in QAnon and see what shows up.
QAnon, just type in QAnon Gambino assassination. It'll be the first thing that shows up.
He wasn't seeking to kill a mob boss. He was trying to help Trump.
Yep, that's the one. It's the New York Times, right?
Yeah.
That's the one.
Oh my god.
I want you to fill our listeners in on the... By listeners, I mean, like, hi, Dad. But fill our listeners in on what they've missed. Because, like I said, I'm hazily recounting a story that I can't actually look up. I saved it on my phone specifically for this, and then I realized I'm using my phone as my microphone. This will be a total waste if it turns out like the recording after I tested it is actually shit and unusable.
Okay, yeah, he thought he was a member of the Deep State.
Yeah. Like I said, I know I got like the general outline of the story right. It's just I know there are some hilarious details I'm missing. Thank you. I don't know why I thanked you for his drink. All right.
Okay. In February, the perpetrator twice tried to conduct his own arrest of Mayor Bill de Blasio, including one instance where he showed up at Gracie Mansion, the mayoral home in Manhattan. Not long after the incident, Mr. Comello sought the help of the United States Federal Marshals at the Federal District Court in Manhattan and asked they help arrest 2 California Democrats representatives, Maxine Waters and Adam Schiff.
Yes, I knew it was like way funnier than I was describing. That's the funniest part. He's like, federal marshals, let's do the citizen's arrest, baby.
He rolled up.
And they were just like, what are you talking about? Are you on drugs? He's like, yeah, I'm totally on bath salts, guys. And then he went and killed a mob boss. That's the funny. I forgot the funniest part of the story. I'm so mad.
So this dude's like, you know what? I'm going to arrest the mayor. No, that's too low. I want to arrest 2 congressmen
in the opposite state. And then he was like, I can't get a ride from the U.S. Marshals. Like, they don't have an Uber service. I better just like arrest the mob boss. And then he like panics because the mob boss. I don't remember exactly how it goes. I'm sure it's in this news story. Like, apparently he just like panics and shoots him like 10 times. He's just like, oh shit.
Oh my god.
This is incredible. Listen, my Google News alerts are the greatest thing. I'm telling you. Like, all this AI where, like, they're selling my data to the Russians actually has made my life so much better.
Oh, my God.
It'll just tell me Russia will tell me the Yankee score, and they'll tell me about when a mob boss gets assassinated by a QAnon guy. So I have a Google News alert for either mobsters or QAnon. I'd really be wondering. I've never set any of these up myself other than the neighborhood, which I do have as a Google News alert, by the way. So I knew the moment it was renewed for a season 2.
The chosen vigilante of Donald Trump. Oh my god.
Oh my
Which I think I covered that part. But yeah, that's... Yeah, you get like just territory, but really it's the U.S. Field Marshals that's like really the kicker in the story. He was just like, yo, U.S. Field... First of all, it's like no one's first thought of like government badass. He was like, yo, FBI, let's ride or die.
Oh my god, he even does the cop thing. The perpetrator took handcuffs with him to Todd Hill on March 13th. The lawyer said, but his plan was foiled when Mr. Calley refused to submit to the arrest. Instead, the lawyer says the Gambino leader reached towards his waistband, fearing for his life. The vigilante shot.
Yeah, he shot him 10 times.
He was reaching for his gun.
Which, according to my knowledge of handguns, means he had to reload. Well, when really he was just like...
It depends on the type of gun. If it's like a...
It's probably just like my balls itch.
Well, if it's like a Glock 14, then it's... Or not a Glock 14, a Glock 17 or something, it's going to be like 12 to 15 rounds. I don't remember.
Okay, nerd.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a gun nerd. I played video games, okay? But it's reason... 10 times is entirely possible.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I'm an idiot. I just assume like every pistol's a 9mm and like every assault rifle's an AR-15. That's the extent of my gun knowledge.
Well, I mean, if 9mm are especially high capacity, well, normally because they have smaller rounds.
See, I thought they had like 8 shots.
8. That's a 45, like a 1911.
Okay.
But
so,
yeah,
I guess that makes sense because like cops are bad shots, so you got to give them a lot of tries.
It's actually really funny to me. Well, like the thing about cops is that their qualifying is they have to hit the target X amount of times from 10 meters, which is like...
I feel like I did that my first try, the only time I've ever shot a gun.
I raised my hand and said, this is my point. But yeah, like
I also have no hand-eye coordination. I can't play Dark Souls.
This does have my like I have this hilarious mental image now of like this kid like panicking, unloading, and then he's like, "Oh god, reload! He's not dead yet."
You're right. It's way funnier if I like am an idiot that doesn't know how guns work and he reloads. But unfortunately, I think you're probably right because I doubt one of my long-time Jesus Christ, one of my long-time I'm not even going to the non-visual medium will just have to figure out what I'm freaking out about. It could be anything. Subscribe to the Patreon to find out.
There is no Patreon yet.
Not yet. There'll be a Patreon episode 3 when I finally get that sweet MeUndies sponsorship. During the goods and services with like some generic chill hop playing, I'm just like, yo, MeUndies.
My man.
It's dope. MeUndies are dope though. I have like 2 pairs.
What kills me though, my man used the cop defense. Like every time I've heard about a cop killing an unarmed person, it's, and I quote, they feared for their lives.
Yeah, so here's the most ironic thing about the whole thing.
But he's a citizen cop. He was gonna arrest
Citizens
him.
arrest, baby.
Citizen.
So here's the beauty, the irony, the sort of nihilistic tilt. I said nihilism wrong, doesn't matter. The nihilistic tilt of this entire story is that in that moment, he was the most effective cop in New York for like 50 years. Like, he accomplished more than literally any other cop in the state ever will and ever has.
Well, you know, that's because of...
Unironically, I'm not saying this joke. Like, he actually accomplished more to, like, better society than allegedly what every cop is supposed to do.
Well, yes. But to be fair,
he saved, like, 20 child prostitutes. How many cops can say that? 0.
Yes, but...
He didn't even kill an innocent black guy to do it.
No, he killed an Italian instead.
But he's not innocent.
Exactly.
But, like, with respect to that, I mean, you know, due process. Otherwise, we just have a bunch of neo-fascists running around killing whoever they want and say, well, at least I saved this guy. Due process, man.
No, I'm not saying that, like, it's ironic. Like, I'm not saying, like, oh, QAnon, we should just make them the police now.
Well, yeah.
I want to be clear. These are 43 IQ doofuses.
I know that's not what you're saying, but I also don't want to. I want to clarify so that it doesn't seem like you're advocating for fascist vigilantes, because that's insane.
It's not like every other American doesn't already advocate for that when they're like, I wish Batman was real.
Hey, here's a hot take for you guys. Batman's a fascist.
Batman's a fascist. I don't even think that's controversial unless you're, again, a nerd.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much it's objectively true. He thinks he's above the law. He goes about things about. Well, okay. Before the super nerds come after me for not knowing Frank Miller's variant of whatever the fuck. Well, actually, Frank Miller's Batman's probably the most fascist. But that being said, like,
you keep talking to do some jams.
In general, he's
I'm playing like some fascist ass music, but like techno. It's the Max Payne theme.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't fucking know what that is. But the bottom line is that
you haven't played a Max Payne game?
Actually, no. I kind of need to.
They're good.
You're lying to me.
No, like I think like especially like Max Payne 2 is like genuinely like maybe the best video game story I've ever seen. Some of it hasn't aged well, like the shooting. It's fine.
I think
it's a little shooting gallery-ish, but like
he's yelling. I think he's lying.
What?
I think you're lying to me.
No, like I genuinely think like the story, it's flawed and it's convoluted. Like it does the whole video game thing where we have to have like 30 plot twists so we can stretch it out into like 20 hours of game time. But like when it hits like sort of like the emotionally resonant, like I actually think like in a theoretical world where like some Hollywood exec is dumb enough to give me money, like that, if they're like, okay, here's the deal though, you have to make a video game movie, and it has to make. I would say like Max Payne would actually, I think, out of every single video game on Earth, there are plenty of video games I like more than Max Payne, but I think it's one that would just adapt perfectly to film, because a lot of the center of the plot is all this like convoluted conspiracy theory bullshit, and basically you just strip it down into this really sort of light up, like very streamlined plot noir that is the core of the story. And like Max Payne 2 I think is actually a masterpiece, especially like if you could take the good parts of Max Payne 1 and include it.
Okay, all right, I'll take your word for it and maybe I'll try it out.
Like just watch the story on YouTube, honestly. The gameplay it's fun, but like it's not something that like you really want to play again after the first time.
But before the musical interlude, I was going to say that Batman in general is fascist. Like, beating people up without due process.
Bow.
You're not even doing Hans Zimmer. Come on, you're killing me.
Well, no, because that... whatever. I can't really sing Hans Zimmer. I guess I could do, like, the Bane thing where it's like... Shark bait, shark bait. Shark bait, shark bait.
You know it's... not.
You ever thought it was weird that Hans Zimmer decided that song Finding Nemo and he was like, this is fucking Bane's theme, my neighbor.
Except that's not what they say.
They're like...
They say basa, basa, desha, desha, basa.
Basha, desha, desha, basha. It doesn't matter. Like deep down, like, he was watching, my guy Hans Zimmer was watching Finding Nemo, and they're shooting Nemo into the cleanser thing with the blades.
Fire!
And he's like, this is fucking Bane's theme here.
Fucking Bane.
Fucking, like, 8-foot back-breaking Bane with the bald head. And he's like, this is what intimidation and fear feels
Tom Hardy
like.
with a mask, which is pretty much any role he ever does anymore.
Why do you wear the mask?
Why did you say that name? Wait, no, that's the wrong.
That's the wrong. Listen, this will also at some point, because I have really complicated feelings about The Dark Knight Rises.
It aged poorly.
It aged poorly. I feel sad because I remember it's like one of the few times I've really ever changed my base opinion on a movie by a whole lot. Because the first time I saw it, I just remember I was like, oh, I can feel my English teacher talking to me about the themes, talking to me about all the different layers there were to that story, talking to me about how it basically made the Two Towers like fucking, or what's the Dickens book that's like two something?
Tale of Two Cities.
Tale of Two Cities. Thank you. I called it the Twin Towers. I thought it was I thought Dickens wrote Lord of the Rings.
Are we thinking about doing another round potentially? Or are we ready?
I suppose I need to drive home, so yeah, this will be my last one.
All right, yeah, same. I'll cover hers.
Yeah. So,
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
anyways, my point is like Christopher Nolan made like the Tale of Two, like God damn it, I did it again.
The Tale of Two Cities.
Okay, I was doing it right. Tale of Two Cities. He made it like fucking cool.
You mean like The Prestige?
The problem is, it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
And the choreography is bad.
The entire last act is just like all the police officers decided they want to punch instead.
Instead of use their guns like, police officers.
It's like, didn't they drop the National Guard into there? They had like the undercover guy that gets like iced by Bane. He's just like, yeah, they had like the military. Couldn't they? I understand that like they couldn't like actually send the army in because they were going to blow the bridges up or some shit.
They already did.
Whatever they were going to do.
They'd send in like...
It was a giant nuclear bomb. That's what it was. Literally a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, I mean, he basically strapped a bomb to a city and said, nobody come near this.
First of all, if you have it that close to the ground, you're going to kill like a couple thousand people at most. Do you really think the government's going to pussy out if you threaten that many lives? They didn't even stop the plane from hitting. They didn't even like bother to not shoot down the plane that was going to crash into the Pentagon. Or what was the one at the... they hit the plane. Yeah, which was the building you're supposed to hit? I think the White House.
No, it wasn't the Pentagon. It was the White House, yeah.
Yeah, because the Pentagon actually got hit.
Yeah, Flight 93, they had to take over in order to mitigate
the government, again, there was like 200 people, and they were threatening the lives of like 6 people who could easily just evacuate. And they were like, nope, we're not going to give them a fighting chance. Just shoot down that plane and like, we'll just make some shit up. By the way, I'm just saying this conspiracy theory is fact, because we all know deep down it's true.
The deep state killed Flight 93.
QAnon is real.
Actually, this is the first time I'm hearing of this, but,
because again, like, if you just know how the federal government operates, like, it's just obvious they did it. The same thing I was talking about, like, where we don't know that, like, Bill Clinton, like, banged a bunch of chicks on Epstein's plane. Or by chicks, I mean, like, 12-year-olds. But we know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Pusha T. The trapdoors are supposed to be awkward. If you know, you know. So, speaking of knowing, Batman could have dropped a couple sniper rifles in. They apparently smuggled like 8 paramilitary dudes.
Yeah, they smuggled.
They could have also included like 100 guns. That's really all it would have even taken. Because like they had the jump on them, and instead of like just like sniping them from the buildings, they just stood there and they were like, divided, we fall. Together, we stand. Like they were fucking Caesars, like teaching the other apes how to just overthrow the humans. But the difference is why like Caesar's dope and a monkey, like actual fully grown human beings were like this. They saw Planet of the Apes and they were like, what if we didn't add any nuance to this plan?
So, you know what's really funny is it's like this.
And it did work, by the way, because apparently, like, I guess Bane in the last 6 months could only arm his goons with handguns.
Yeah, apparently.
And 1 tank.
Oh, yeah, so
that can't shoot.
So this is my favorite thing about The Dark Knight Rises is that there's a lot of, like, half-assed Occupy Wall Street commentary about how communism is bad. But at the same time, like, they insinuated that proletariat revolution could overcome military might. And I think that's hilarious.
Well, kind of.
I mean, you know,
it's a dumb movie.
Yeah, it's really, it crosses its wires.
The U.S. government would launch the nuke themselves if they felt that they were at risk of a proletariat revolution. I'm like 5 episodes away from getting Nebraska like Moab.
Moab. Well, we can't have that radiation.
Okay, and I'm like 0 threat. I've never, like I said, I've shot a gun once in my life. And on top of that, I'm well established as being an idiot who pronounces nihilism nihilism.
Nihilism.
and they would nuke me if I had like 30 followers.
Well, I mean,
They would at least send the FBI to like plant cocaine in my car so they could arrest me.
if shit hits the fan,
If I get to like a cold, like once I get into the double digits, it's over for me.
Well, I mean, yeah. That's
And you're thinking they wouldn't just nuke the whole city as soon as it started a proletariat?
What if they
uprising?
just do the Black Mirror thing? I mean, if entertainment anesthetizes the masses anyway, you're basically just the black guy from what is it, 22 Million Merits and Black Mirror, just holding a shard of glass to your throat on public TV once an hour.
Yep. I mean, they blew up the bridges. You know, as soon as they do that, whoever the president is in the Dark Knight universe, I imagine the president of the Dark Knight universe still being Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton seems like a very Nolan-ass president. I have absolutely no way to back this up. But I'm pretty sure Bill Clinton is the president in every Chris Nolan movie.
So Nolan,
Because he's got the sort of stoicism and sort of the respectability politics, but deep down he's a bad person, like every Nolan character.
I mean, and like Chris Nolan's English, so like even if you leaned right a little bit, he's still a neo-lib by American standards.
Yeah. So anyway, Dark Knight Rises. What I was talking. Anyway, my point is like
It's a bad movie.
when they blow up the bridges, the government's gonna be like, yes, none of them can escape. Launch the nukes, my neighbor.
No witnesses.
No witnesses, baby.
Except for not all.
Oh, what happened? Oh no, don't worry. The city spontaneously
The
combusted.
terrorists blew up the nuke.
Oh, that's true. They even have a built-in excuse. It's like, and then like anyone who understands how science works is gonna be like, the nuke's too close to the ground. It can't hit more than like this much of the city.
Actually, did they explicitly say what the megaton payload was?
Have a good night.
I don't think it matters because again, like you're just gonna deep digger into the earth.
Are you doing tip?
Yeah. Okay. I'm not a bitch.
Are you doing tip?
I suppose I'd better.
Do you need a calculator?
No.
Hashtag tipped the bill. I've had 3 bills. I have had 3 beers. There's no way I'm tipping the bill. I said that a little too loud. Now I have to put like a really good tip or I'm gonna feel awful. That should be enough. It's alright. I've got like $2,000 in credit card debt. This isn't gonna put a dent in it. You really don't have to tip if you don't want to. I did like $20.
Well, I suppose I'd better. Anyways, this is the guest copy. Good.
You're just like shoving the guest copy. You're like, that's a little much. Maybe you just covered both tips.
Do you want to shoot me like, I don't know, 25?
Yeah. 20?
20. Yeah, that's fine. Because I just dropped 50.
That's fair.
Dropping dimes like Chris Paul.
I only date dimes.
Then why are you dating me?
Well,
Yeah, real dime piece list.
Well, I can identify. I can tell you the date of any 10-cent coin by looking at it.
So, anyways,
Because
Dark
I
Knight,
only date
real dumb.
dimes.
So, to summarize, The Dark Knight
I
Rises.
fucking hate you.
I hate you both. The Dark Knight
Thanks.
Rises, real dumb movie where every action sequence is fucking bad except for the first one that they did for the IMAX trailer.
Oh, the plane one?
And even that one's like not good. It's just that the dialogue is like so funny.
Crashing this plane.
With no survivors.
You're a big guy. For you.
For you.
The funny thing is the way that sentence, that exchange is structured, it makes no sense except it's sort of like this homoerotic play on words instead of, it will be extremely painful for you, instead of that. Like,
it's a Littlefinger that makes it dumb.
is it?
The FBI agent is Littlefinger, by the way.
Sansa.
Try on seeing that, everyone. Except he picked an accent this time.
Sansa, I don't understand. Why
Are we sure the Littlefinger guy isn't the worst actor ever?
I mean, I only saw him make one face the entire time he played Littlefinger.
Every role, and granted, I know him in like 3 roles, okay? I know that role, I know Littlefinger, and he was in a video game about like stopping time or some shit. It was an Xbox exclusive, and we don't talk about it anymore.
Xbox exclusives. Lol. Did you watch Bohemian Rhapsody?
Oh. I've seen enough of it.
Monkey.
Which one is he?
The cut one. He's like he's a producer or something.
Yeah, he's bad in that too. I think he's just a terrible actor.
Cut.
I think he's just really bad.
I don't know.
Because like that's one of the most painful. It's so bad that like it's just good.
Like I don't know.
That's his one move.
I don't know how I feel about Aidan Gillen. So
he's like, if I take that mask off, will you die?
Well, I mean, he has to focus on doing an American accent. The dude's Irish, I think.
Is he?
He's not American.
You know, it's not the 1930s, Chris Nolan. The FBI hires Irish people now.
The CIA, dipshit.
Whatever. So does the CIA. You can even have a little like throwaway line about him used to be with the IRA or some shit. They make him 100. Oh, they come 100 times cooler.
I used to be with the IRA. Quantum Break.
Yep, that's the one. That game was so bad, and so was he in that fucking game.
I'll take your word for it.
So the whole premise of that game is like it's a TV show and a video game. So they had like 8 episodes of just like actual like television shows that were filmed on a budget of like $3. Like this podcast has more of a budget because I just paid for food.
Yeah, and this phone's
which is going to be a tax write-off.
Oh, cool! I can't wait to write off my taxes.
I wonder if you can get away with that, like getting food while you're doing a podcast, like if you make enough money.
Well, I mean, sure, maybe. I don't know.
I think you could. Like, I think if I make like $1,000 this year on the podcast, we could just write off all our food expenses.
If you make $1,000 this year on the podcast, I don't know what I'm going to do.
What we're gonna do is buy like
because that would be like
5
3
QAnon
months.
members some hookers.
Yeah, you got
make the world a better place.
We're gonna make this place profitable by December.
No, 0% chance that happens. I'm just putting that out there.
I'm too lazy.
If I get a single dollar off the podcast within 12 months, it'll be a fucking miracle.
So what? $1's like
some prospective company. Some prospective company pays us to do an ad read where I'm like, yo, time for the products and services section. Me on these.
What corporate nitwit's
sweaty balls, no more.
What corporate nitwit's going to be like, yeah, we want Mason to read our ads?
I mean, people do let Bill Burr read their ads. I'm not worse than him.
I mean, sure, but like, you're also way more radical than Bill Burr.
I haven't implied that, like, all fat people should die. I don't know. What's the worst thing Bill Burr said?
Yeah, but I mean, you have.
I only implied that the entire human race should die.
I mean, yeah, that's not controversial.
I was just saying, like, I think that's a popular opinion.
Humans are garbage? Yeah, it's not.
Anyone in slightly center left is like, yeah, that would make the world a much better place. Unfortunately, I like having sex and eating food.
Unfortunately, I like existing. What a tragedy.
You know why nihilism is the only answer?
It's a nihilist.
Nihilism, as I would say.
Nihilism.
I mean,
Dark Knight, trash movie. Is there anything else before I end? I think we've been recording long enough. We've been recording for...
You didn't do your How I Met Your Mother.
Hour 50. Okay, 20 minutes. That's all right. 2 hours, 20 minutes, plus we'll probably cut out 20 minutes for, like, waiter talk. That'll work. So, last bit, How I Met Your Mother. So I haven't, like, really been watching it. It's just, like, before I go to bed, I'll bang out, like, an episode. Just to, like...
Oh, yeah, you said...
Because, like, it's something I don't really want to watch. I just want, like, something that will engage my brain just a tiny bit. And, like, a couple chuckles before I go to bed.
I mean, there you go. That's How I Met Your Mother.
So
it's like the tofu of TV shows. It's fine. It'll do the job. How I Met Your Mother. First of all, like, the Barney shit's just kind of weird now. As, like, a class-conscious adult who respects women, JK. Like, just, like, a lot of the jokes for, like, the whole show are just, like, I told this girl I was an astronaut, and the dumb bitch slept with me. It's, like, half the jokes in the show.
Well, I mean, like, basically...
Like, I get it's much... It, like, humor-wise, it functions similarly to, like, a dead baby joke, where it's, like, it's so over-the-top and immoral that you can assume that you're not necessarily endorsing that kind of behavior.
Well, I mean, I think How I Met Your Mother kind of also operates. Actually, I don't know if it does. Does it operate off the premise that everybody except Marshall in that show is a bad person? Or are we supposed to feel bad for
I don't
Ted
feel like
being
it makes
an
any sort of moral judgments. Other than, I think it wants Ted to be a good person.
I think, actually, yeah, I think they framed Ted sympathetically. I think
But like all the other characters, I think are framed fairly neutrally, except for Barney, who's like bad.
Yeah, he's always been seen as a bad dude. Or not good, at least.
Which isn't the guy who plays Ted like basically the auteur of that show?
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure he is, which would make sense.
Schmosby.
Classic
Schmosby.
Which like I actually don't think he's like that. Like people go on about like, first of all, like a sitcom basically can't function with like good people.
Yeah, because good people do good things, and that's not funny.
Because like the whole point is like you either like there are only two types of sitcom characters.
Unless they're good people and they're idiots, like Marshall.
It's just complete bimbos and assholes. Those are the only two types of sitcom characters that exist in the world.
So is Marshall a bimbo? Yeah, he's a bimbo.
Yeah,
He's a bimbo. Like, first of all, he's large, sexy. He has a huge dick. If you've seen How I Met Sarah Marshall, get to see that Jason Schlegel schlong. Now, apparently, they fluffed it up so it was like tricking you into thinking he didn't have an erection because it was like. And what they did is I heard him say this in an interview, which like, why would you admit that? But like, they like fluffed him up so like he was still bendy, but like he was erect enough to make his schlong look like ginormous.
Oh.
But like still, like even as is, like I'm sure he's got a big dick because he's like 8 foot tall.
8 feet.
So anyways, Jason Segel is like just fit, derpy, from Minnesota. Sorry, Minnesotans, I just dissed your entire state's intellect.
Don't worry, Nebraska's probably worse.
That is, I think that's like verifiable.
I mean, our state is run by Lex Luthor, so
that's true. We should dedicate an entire episode to our Lex Luthor ass governor, because it's perplexing that like that's another one that's like kind of perplexing because like if you think about it, right? Like the thing that like, God, it's gonna be another rant, but it doesn't matter. I'm too in. I'm dedicated.
Too deep.
It's like when you go to the Tinder date and you realize the girl like only did face shots and you should have been checked. That should have been a red flag. It's like you're dedicated. You at least gotta like split the bill at this point.
Wait. Are we still in metaphor land here?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like when I realized that I was going to talk about our Lex Luthor ass governor. So for those of you not in Nebraska, and again, I don't have any listeners, so it's not going to matter. But so our governor is Pete Ricketts, who's a fucking Lex Luthor ass governor in every way. He has like petty evil real estate plots like Lex Luthor. Like all his scandals are like real estate based, or like they're like he owns like his family owns the Chicago Cubs. Like the Ricketts family owns the Chicago Cubs. Like their clan owns like 85% of the equity in that team.
Holy shit! I did not know that. Well, I mean, you're a baseball fan, so you probably know these things.
Yeah. As if we needed another reason to cheer against the hapless Cubs.
I mean, didn't they just break like a 106?
Yeah, now we can cheer against them.
Yeah,
they're winners now. Unfortunately, if you go into sports trying to find like a liberal owner, like even like a neoliberal owner, you have one choice: the Dallas Mavericks. Literally the only owner in all sports who we know doesn't like Trump. Let alone like actually
my boy,
Mark Cuban.
Oh, Mark Cuban? No, never mind. I was thinking the other guy who's like fuck basketball or get out of here or whatever.
No, like Mark Cuban is like a good he's not a good person because like he's still a billionaire, but I say this like after my podcast makes $1 billion. It's gonna be really hard for me to continue to justify.
Well, the thing is we can just choose not to be billionaires. Anyway, what I was gonna ask is who's the one guy who's like actually cares about his players more than the game, and he used him as an example in the video.
No, I'm good.
I think so. No.
I apologize for everything.
I'd be curious to hear you.
Thank you.
I apologize for existing.
The guy you were talking about in the video.
See, what a sweetheart.
The guy you were talking about in the video.
Oh, Rick Bobovich is a coach.
Pop, yeah. Oh, he's not an owner. Shit.
Yeah. Wah, wah.
I'm an idiot.
Thank you. Oh, good plan.
Nice.
God, this is going to be a lot of cutting. So, anyway, What was I even talking about? I know how
You were talking about how...
What was the next link?
So you were talking...
Lex Luthor asked governor. So anyway, so our Lex Luthor asked governor, a lot of real estate plots, and like he's just such a petty guy. Like some Republican, I can't remember any of the state senator names because like I don't follow that closely. I mostly, again, Google News alerts. My boys selling my information to Russia. So it's like some state senator was just like, you know what, I'm not going to vote on. And then he spent like $20 million trying to get the guy unelected. He's a state senator. No one gives a shit. And he failed. Like Lex Luthor. And most importantly, if you type Pete Ricketts into Google, he is the most Lex Luthor looking ass man ever.
That's why I call him Lex Luthor.
Unfortunately, the one time I had a face-to-face encounter with him, and by that I mean I walked by him in downtown Lincoln. This is before milkshaking was a thing, so I couldn't like run to Arby's, get a milkshake, and run back and milkshake the motherfucker because it wasn't a thing yet.
So did I tell you the story about our mutual friend who shall remain nameless for the sake of his privacy, who ranted at Lex Luthor for 2.5 hours?
At him?
At him.
Oh.
What's the friend to rhyme with?
I'll just show you who it is.
Oh, even better. Yeah, just show me their face. So we'll just call them Bob. Oh, that's really funny. That's not the friend I thought it was going to be.
So my boy Bob works in the Nebraska State Penn system, or he did.
That's true. That shit does piss him off. I can see it now.
And so he was talking, and so Governor Luthor was doing his tour with his wife or whatever.
Sorry. That's so funny. He took his wife to the prison?
I don't know. It was some tour thing. I don't know. And he ranted at him.
It was Tecumseh right after the riots.
Right after
so it was like support the troops shit. Got ya.
Yeah.
Okay.
And apparently, I was told, he ranted at Governor Luthor for 2.5 hours or something.
I'm sure it wasn't 2.5 hours because, like, we're proving because like we've been talking for not even 2.5 hours, but and by we I mean like 70% me maybe, and I'm losing my fucking voice.
Well, yeah.
And you guys have still picked up the slack.
Well, yeah, like, that's my favorite thing that
I'm gonna give him a big old hug next time I see him. And I was like. Told me about Governor Luthor. He told me the story. You don't need to recap it. I'm proud of you, man. Give him a big old hug.
That's like my favorite thing that I've heard about.
I thought it was going to be our friend with the afro. I was 100%. But then, like, how would he get it? You're right. That was kind of dumb and short-sighted. Because, like, how would he be able to do that? See, I wasn't thinking scenario plausibility. I was just like, who would be most likely to just stand and have the courage to do that?
I mean, he would, but he just doesn't have the opportunity, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think we all would love to get a good old rant in, but some of us just can't.
See, my problem is, like, again, like, this is going to be a throwback, and now we're just getting completely off topic. This is going to turn into, like, a 3-hour podcast, but, I was going to say, last week when I was talking about my thesaurus method of arguing with assholes online.
Yeah.
My problem is I would just see his bald, shiny head. I would just be like, hey, Chrome Dome, have you ever considered not being supporting a fascist piece of shit? That would be my move. Like, I don't even think I could just be like, you should feel ashamed for stripping all the Medicaid benefits from those poor, starving children. That's like what I want to see my mom rant on. Like, because my mom would fucking ether any politician who tried to cut Medicaid benefits. She'd just end their fucking career.
Doesn't she work in that shit now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I thought.
We're actually going to cut that because I don't want my mom to get in trouble.
Yeah, that's fair.
We'll trim it down so I don't use specifics. So How I Met Your Mother. Kind of a complicated because I get, like, obviously it's not endorsing, like, pretending to be Lance Armstrong and, like, being paralyzed from the waist down and, like, the only cure is more sex and pussy. But I just feel like when that's a good chunkier material, even if it's like ironic, like it does kind of leave a bad taste in your mouth. Like it's like if an entire show was just that baby jokes. Like if you want to sprinkle like one an episode, that's fine. But when it's like half the humor of the show, which is unfortunate because like shit like the Blue Bugle and like the Pineapple, like the real humanist sort of like wacky New York moment shit actually works better than I think any other like New York sitcom. Whereas like Friends, all that shit doesn't, like the only thing that works in Friends is like the Chandler jokes. Like the sort of humanist sort of frenzy humor that they go for at times actually really works. But anyway, the real thing that I've kind of thought about a lot is the ending, which for those of you who don't like spoilers, I'm going to spoil it. Not that you should care, because the last 2 seasons were fucking awful. Let me tell you about the moment the show just fucking broke. So Barney, like, he very much got Flanderized, which for those of you who don't know, Flanderized is basically how in the first couple seasons of Simpsons, Flanders was just like a nice neighbor, and then became like a religious zealot in like season whatever. I don't know enough about the Simpsons history to like give you the details, but that's basically what happened.
They take core characteristics and exaggerate them until that's all they are. Yeah,
so like Barney became like just a steroid fucking, version of himself. And so anyway, one of the entire episodes centers around him having like some fucking like Kal-El hologram thing in his living room, and he's just like giving commands to all the other How I Met Your Mother friends in his Kal-El voice, pretending to be Kal-El, and it just broke me. I was like, this is the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen.
See, I don't even remember that episode.
Yeah, you know why? Because you were broken earlier than that, or like I said, it's again. We're all millennials. It's not like we sat down and all banged this out live and we're committed. It's just sort of like fades into our memory during the periods of time we saw reruns when we were playing hooky in school. That's how we experienced pop culture, was playing hooky in school and watching these shitty reruns with like sped at 125% so TBS could jam more commercials in there.
Yes, because...
Which is the thing they do, by the way, in case anyone didn't know. So anyway, so the show famously, controversially ends with... Turns out, so it kind of sort of hits at that like Robin is his love the whole time, and so you kind of assume she's going to be the mom in some weird convoluted way, but that's not what happens. They have a plot twist for you. Plot twist is he meets the real mom in the final season, and she's just a forgettable... I can't even say like something mean, because like she's so painfully forgettable.
Oof.
Big oof indeed.
Oh, isn't she the chick that plays one of the main characters in the 5th Black Mirror season? The Star Trek
I haven't seen the 5th Black Mirror season, so we'll
Star
move on
Trek
from
one?
that.
I'm not sure.
So anyway, Black Mirror chick, unless it's not the Black Mirror chick.
We'll find out while you're talking.
Yeah. So she's the mom, and they fall in love. They have a wedding. A bunch of Marshall and Lily break up 4 more times and get back together. Barney and Robin end up getting back together, and then they break up and get back. Anyway, it's a lot of breaking up and getting back together. So that's the last season. And then they do like the sort of, and this whole show happened in like 3 years. So here's, I think so.
Actually, you know what? I can just look at her filmography.
Again, such a forgettable ass character. I can't say for sure, but I think so. The face looks familiar, and I haven't seen Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Okay, good shit. So Black Mirror chick, totally forgettable. Not the actress's fault. Just again, like terrible writing. Show at this point was like phoning it in harder than like me in college. Big oof indeed. And then they do the whole thing where it's basically like, okay, now we have to cover another 20 years, and we can't start another show. So it's be like, well, it turns out they got a divorce. It didn't work out. So then you kind of figure out what's going to happen after they're recapping it and realize that Barney and Robin didn't end up staying together. Which that part's fine so far. Like I like the idea of these two like broken losers like not actually being able to function as adults. Like really, they should have just said like Barney drank himself to death or something if they wanted to really go for that. But they didn't, because it's supposed to be like sentimental, because culture is degrading into nothing but just nostalgia. Anyway, and it turns out the mom's dead and died of, I don't even remember what she died of. It's not important to the plot. I just assume cancer.
Yeah, cancer or something.
And then the kid's like, oh, you should fuck Aunt Robin. Like, clearly.
Yeah, he's basically like...
And it's the most sick, twisted shit ever that doesn't realize how sick and twisted it is. Because, like, so the implication here is, like, this is supposed to be his dream girl. Once the two kids, a boy and a girl, had the umbrella the whole time. They're supposed to, it's all this build-up is supposed to be this destiny. And then it turns out he's just spent the last 20 years in this unhappy-ass marriage wanting to fuck Aunt Robin. And when he's got cancer, you know deep down he's just like, woo! He was getting ready. He was mounting up. And then he decided, all right, now I got the kids to, like, get the Viagra ready.
Get them on board or something. Jesus.
Like, it's the most fucked up shit ever.
And they did like all the kids' lines at once, so they had this shit played from the fucking beginning, and I hate it.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. And the thing is, like, as fucked up and awful as it is, there's a really, really easy fix. Super easy. And it also retroactively makes the show 1,000 times better. 2 easy fixes.
Delete Barney?
No, keep him in. He gets divorced, and then he, like, kills himself or something. You don't have to go that dark if you're not me. But, like, he dies. Kill Barney.
Okay, Barney dead.
So Barney's dead, and then you realize, like, oh, he was just the saddest shell of a human the whole time. Retroactively makes his character so much more interesting. Much like the weird, like, Wayne Brady, Bob Barker thing was actually, like, the most interesting stuff about that character. Where, like, he thought Bob Barker was his dad, even though he clearly wasn't. And the running joke was, like, he was the greatest Price is Right contestant ever and could guess it down to the dollar because he was obsessed with the Price is Right. Because he was obsessed with the fact that Bob Barker was clearly his father. And then, like, he thinks Wayne Brady is his biological brother, even though
I was like, what the
he
fuck
clearly
are you
can't be
talking about?
because he's black. So anyways, that shit's, like, actually really good because it shows, like, what a broken human being that Barney is. So it should have ended with him just, like, dying an alcoholic or some shit. And then what they should have done with the mom, don't kill her and make some weird fucked up shit. Just be like, yeah, we were together for like 11 years. The marriage didn't work out. We were both miserable the whole time. Turns out that all this sort of destiny is bullshit. And we just got a divorce. We're still cool with each other. No hard feelings, but, you know. And I've just been this lonely divorced dad who hasn't been able to find anything since then. And again, like, people would relate because, like, this whole lonely divorced dad thing is a lot of things that, like, real people experience all the time. And then the kids should be like, you know who you've always wanted to fuck? Aunt Robin. And then A, it's not fucked up because there's not this underlying, like, oh, if mom had lived, you would have just sat there wanting to fuck Aunt Robin the whole time? Because really the accidental implication that the show kind of makes is that Ted Mosby slowly poisoned her to death with antifreeze. I think it's the only conclusion you can draw, given the facts. She died of a slow, allegedly cancerous-like disease. Well, how do you pretend to kill someone in natural causes? Slowly poison them with antifreeze. I've seen this shit on 60 Minutes like 10 times. So how do you fix it? Easy. You flip Barney's fate with Mom's fate. And it just makes the show so much more insightful about the human condition, so much more interesting. And instead of being super fucked up, it's the subversion that I think they were going for to begin with. That what the subversion that they wanted was that, no, actually destiny isn't real. We're real human beings that believed in this shit, and it didn't work out. But instead of just being super fucked up, because, like, he fell in love with, like, the problem is, I wouldn't be surprised if they changed the ending halfway through and had him re-record.
I wouldn't be
Because I think much like how at the end of Roger Stone's Natural Born Killers, where, like, they clearly were supposed to both get killed by that crazy lady at the end.
Yeah.
Roger Stone fell in love with his own celebrity killers and refused to kill them. Similarly, Ted Mosby probably had this idea from the get-go the way I described, but then fell in love with the idea in Destiny and wanted to be real. But then because it was already building toward that way, tweaked it so that, like, oh, Destiny actually is real. It's just not the Destiny we thought it was. But see, it doesn't work because then again, the implication is that Ted Mosby poisoned a mom with antifreeze. That is my... I kind of want to do, like, a whole blog post or...
She died from an undisclosed illness.
So cancer. Anytime it's an undisclosed
poisoned
incident.
by antifreeze.
Poisoned by antifreeze. Poisoned by her enemies.
Yeah, poisoned by antifreeze. So see, point works.
Bruce Bolton was poisoned by his enemies.
Exactly. Bruce Bolton. That would be a good trivia question for like episode 100 when we have like a huge following. It'd be like the bonus round to like win all the marbles to win like 10 pairs of MeUndies. Would be like bonus question. What do Bruce Bolton and the mom from How I Met Your Mother have in common?
So
They were poisoned by their enemies.
Both were poisoned by their enemies.
Apparently, they shot
Who happened
an
to be their
alternate-
family members.
Apparently, they shot an alternate version, but they didn't like record any new material, and it was released on the DVD, season 9 DVD, and it's in the alternate ending, the mother is still living when Ted is telling the story in 2030. Future Ted is heard saying, "When I think how lucky I am to wake up next to your mom every morning, I can't help but be amazed how easy it all really was," indirectly stating the mother is alive.
See, so that lame ass shit was clearly like the thing they do all the time now in TV shows, where they just filmed a fake ending so that no one could leak it.
Yeah.
That they've been doing since 24, filmed the fake ending so that no one knew the mom died at the end of the first season. Spoilers for another old ass. Oh man, I spoiled it for you.
I don't. I'm not going to.
You're not gonna remember. I hope not. Watch 24. Just the first season. Not that the other seasons aren't good, but you've seen one of them. You've seen all of them. First one's the best one. Anyone else listening? Watch 24. As someone who thinks that TV is a garbage medium, the first season of 24 is, I wouldn't say flawless, because there's a lot of flaws to it, but I think ultimately it is a masterpiece. It's something that it doesn't quite, it's also like the only show ever that is made much better by commercials.
Because of the way
ticking
suspense
clock
is
thing. Because like the whole time, the commercial, much in the same way that like sports, especially American sports, like can't really function without, not necessarily commercials, but they need to have pause in between action to build suspense. 24, the whole time you're watching like some soap ad, you're really wondering like, oh man, I wonder how many times they're whipping Jack Bauer in the testicles. and so I will say like it isn't quite as effective on Netflix, but it still works because like the clock ticks, there's some black, and then the clock ticks, you get the idea.
Yeah, I mean, the language is there. All right, duly noted.
God, the end of that show was so fucking sick. It's just like, oh no, mom's dead. I won't even say what else happens, but the twist is fucking crazy. You'll never see it coming.
Okay.
And then it's just like, it ends on the sad, sad note, and it's just like, tick, 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 tick. It's the sickest shit ever. I don't think anything will ever top the end of season 1. Like, if 24 had been like just a one-time anthology, like it had originally been planned,
Like a miniseries, basically.
yeah, basically, like it would be on like people wouldn't even talk about Breaking Bad, or not that I think it's better than Breaking Bad, but I think just it's so fucking powerful that I just think like people would just say it's the GOAT TV show. It's not even close. That's how fucking good the first season is.
I'll take your word for it. Well, actually, I won't take your word for it. I'll have to see it myself.
Okay, well, I ended up having another rant in me. Closing thoughts.
Watch The Boys.
Watch
I
The
was
Voice.
gonna say
The Boys.
The Boys.
I've heard that.
I want to hear your take.
Okay, yeah, it's
8 episodes. You can bang it out easy.
Yeah, it took us like.
You say that, but they're like all over an hour long.
Yeah, but it's pretty.
They're
simple.
long episodes.
Okay.
Think about it. That's 4 movies.
Okay. My take is that it's solid. I'm not sure how much you'll get into it, but it's not your.
It just seems like such a fucking Watchmen ripoff. I don't think I could do it.
It's not. It's just.
It even uses the same like color palette and framing as Zack Snyder's Watchmen from the trailer shots. I'm sure it also, because again, there's 8 hours of footage. There's no way they can like not have like their own original shit in there. So I'm not saying like it's shot for shot a Watchmen remake or anything. Although I can't fucking believe
It's very not Watchmen. It's basically like it instead of superheroes as weapons for the United States military, it's more of superheroes as spectacle and business.
But that's what Watchmen is. Like, people think like the whole government doesn't really matter in Watchmen other than just sort of as an ancillary, like the whole pending nuclear war ancillary. You know, I can try to say ancillary 30 times. I'll never get around the first time. Just can't say that word.
It's okay.
So ancillary, like everything the government does is kind of ancillary, but really it's about sort of like the broken, fucked up humanness of like, what if these heroes are real? Which sounds exactly like The Boys where they're talking like, oh, the Superman ripoff is actually just like fucking banging chicks left and right. And like
that's not
gets off on torture and low level crooks. He's basically Rorschach with superpowers.
I'm not going to argue.
But he can get laid because he's not ginger. Take that, AOC's boyfriend.
AOC is okay. I guess I need to pay attention to the.
It was a huge scandal? Question mark.
I need to pay attention to the non-important side of politics.
Everyone got mad because they're you know, like I said before, the thing about AOC that makes her so potent on all these Fox News shows
is because she's Fox News catnip.
She not just that, because there have been plenty of Fox News catnip before. What makes her special? Obama is Fox News catnip.
That's fair.
What makes her special is that she breaks Bill O'Reilly's brain because he's not used to having his outrage center and his horny center triggered at the same time. It's like overload. It's like uncut cocaine to Fox News.
Okay.
And so it was kind of a sort of, I wouldn't call it a scandal, it was more like snarky Fox Twitter. It was like, turns out her boyfriend isn't that attractive. He's not a model. What a fucking loser with the lame SJW boyfriend. It's like, he looks fine. You're just hating on him because he's ginger. The biggest problem is he's got a bad beard, like a Mason beard.
Oh no.
But other than that, he's fit. He's got a nice haircut. You know, he's not a bad looking dude. He just needs to. He's probably, and the reason he has such an awful beard is probably because he's been working the because he works on our campaign, right? And so he probably hasn't slept in 2 years.
Nope.
He was probably sexy as fuck when he first met. And then the campaign turned him into a fucking sexy mongoloid. I'm gonna bleep that word because that's kind of a racial slur.
Fair enough.
I need to break that one out of my. The problem is I picked up that word before I figured out it was a racial slur.
Okay. So to get back to the whole The Boys as Watchmen thing, I think that there's a core difference that is kind of important insofar as that the supers they're not. I mean, I guess they're main cast, but they're not the protagonists.
Yeah, so I understand, but I don't know. So then it's that, but also generic good guy shit.
No. Well, I mean,
I like how I'm just judging the show based on a trailer.
Well, I mean,
this is the shit I always do.
I think that
the problem is sorry, I'll let you finish a second.
Oh yeah, go on.
The problem is I need some way to filter out shows and shit. All right, now go on.
So I think so you know how in every pilot the show sets up one way and then there's always a but? But this is what the show is about.
Yeah.
You know? So the but for this show is great. I honestly think it's the most startling and stark thing I've ever seen for a superhero show or movie ever.
I might bang it out at some point. Probably not next week, because next week we'll talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes, because I need to watch it. The core cast is largely, the superheroes are almost, secondary because they're more just pop culture idol figures instead of being, actual characters for the most part. I mean, they're treated like movie stars.
Yeah.
And so your main characters are people who they're normal, they're not suits.
Yeah,
and they're also almost all of them are not really good people. Carl Urban is great. I enjoy Carl Urban.
We'll see.
But yeah,
I'm still supposed to watch Legion at some point.
Watch this first because it's shorter. And
that's true. Legion,
it's also
you know me too well. You're Legion probably unrealistic for you.
Well, this is more current and more relevant.
I still haven't touched season 3 Game of Thrones. I have banged out Game of Thrones. Here, I'm gonna come up with the hottest take ever. Season 8, not good. I know.
Never heard that one before.
I know, my phone, I can't touch it right now. It's too hot. It's too hot.
Spicy.
So,
That's my closing thought. Watch The Boys. As far as everything else, it makes me sad.
watch The Boys. Call down there, Epstein. Okay. I will leave it at that joke. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Give us a review on iTunes. 5 stars, 5 stars. I'll buy you a drink if you see me in real life and you give me a 5-star review. Deuces.
Please